Today's Sunday session is brought to you thanks to the fine folks at More Beer. Visit them right now at morebeer.com.
I want people to believe in me, and I want people to believe in me when they taste my beer. That's what it's about.
You mean you laid underneath it and tried to
Put his tongue up the bung. I like to actually scoop up the yeast and look at it.
7 o'clock came real early that next morning.
Oh, yeah, man. Thanks for dumbing that down for us. You did an awesome job. It's all about food and beer.
Punch me in the junk.
Man, that thing was thick.
The point is just beat it like it's your dick.
I like to smell it afterwards.
Are you being sarcastic right now?
Yeah. Bring your body armor.
I ran in my junk once on a ball valve in a kettle.
That's a true happy ending.
Now, live from the Brewing Network studios in Northern California, this is the radio program for home brewers, craft brewers, beer lovers, and beer geeks. It's your only source for live beer radio that brings expert brewers together with, well, expert drinkers. This is the radio program with a head on it. This is The Session.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. My name's Justin Crosley. I'll be your host today, and today only.
One at a time.
Well, it's my last day of being 39.
Oh, that's right.
You only aging thing, yeah.
You have less than 6 hours left.
I don't really know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Oh, geez. Are we going to count down?
I just feel like something's going to happen.
Well, something will happen.
I can feel it. This is like a big thing.
Oh, geez.
That could be as simple as my balls dropping another inch, or as complex as me going completely insane. I don't know.
Maybe you'll get a little more sane, and your balls will actually they'll raise up.
That's what happened. Well, except for the balls part. People do tend to get saner as they get older, don't they?
It's like that moment of clarity before you die.
Yeah.
Right. The stream moment of clarity? Right. Yeah, that's right.
Maybe. We'll see. But tomorrow's 40.
Do you get your wisdom tomorrow?
I had those teeth removed years ago, so I don't...
Oh, so you lost it.
I don't think there'll be any wisdom.
Is 40 over the hill, or is 50 over the hill?
Well, 40 is traditionally over the hill, but it's based on a theory, and that is essentially your midlife, right? So the rest is
right.
I figured for me that was at about 25.
Yeah, if that.
Yeah. Or 20, we don't really know.
No, 8.
So, and as far as wisdom goes... Somebody asked me on my birthday, like, okay, now that you're older, give us some wisdom. I literally had nothing. I had not one comment to make. It was
like no nothing. Sort of profound, prophetic.
Who knows that many profound things, really?
I didn't even have anything unprofound to say.
Like, don't fart in church.
Exactly.
Always wear slides for slippers.
I had nothing.
Sometimes silence says a lot.
Yeah, it was disappointing.
I think mine would be like, just so everybody knows, most bathrobes have an inside tie, so you tie one and then you can tie it with the belt. I think is really good, like solid, real world information.
I only learned that even at your wedding.
Right.
That's how recent that information was given to me.
I think you told me. Like, wait, why does it have 3 strings?
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's find out.
Yeah.
One to hang yourself.
Right. So,
40 is the new 30,
Is that what it is?
Unless you live hard, then it's actually 50.
You're like Benjamin Buttons. You're going backwards now.
Some people have suggested that I'm in the prime of my life right now. Yeah. Probably not health-wise. I'm sure they didn't mean that. But,
those people want a free beer.
That I'm having a better time, or I don't know what now.
I live like I'm 33 all the time.
You do. I know. You're much better at it.
Mature enough, but not like...
We'll see what happens. I don't know. I'll call you all when I wake up if you want.
Please do group call, group text.
Hey, everybody, I made it.
Still here.
I'll call you every hour on the hour. Just so you know.
Can't believe it.
From now until you don't make it. Right. That would be really nice.
So I had a good birthday celebration ahead of time over the weekend, though.
Nice.
What'd you do?
I spent the weekend drying out. You probably spent the weekend lubing up.
I did, and in multiple ways, actually. I went sailing.
Nice.
Kate the Great chartered a sailboat.
There you go.
And a bunch of friends came from out of town and surprised me from all over the place, really.
Nice.
So that was really nice. I had a good time. Justin's last stand, kind of.
Right. How many of those have you had?
I only had one. I'm careful about, and I'm good at calling them too. By the way, I called the Biscuits last stand. We did our last trip together. I evaluated her mental state, and I called it then. Kate can vouch for me. It was about 2 weeks later. She was done.
But she was also leaking fluids.
That had been happening her whole life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she had a leaky.
She's
vagina.
dripping. All right.
She was a dripper.
Well, and Justin hasn't felt his feet for a few months.
Yeah, there are signs. This isn't coming out of nowhere.
Are your feet doing better?
Yes.
Okay.
They're not good.
No.
They are moderately better.
Okay.
Sure. I think I was supposed to go back if I didn't get better, and I haven't done that yet. But she did tell me to give it some time, though. She said, give it some time, take the vitamin B, and I don't know. I feel like she indicated that the next steps are either not pleasant or impossible. So
amputation?
No, but I don't know. It's probably like nerve surgery and shit like that.
You should go amputation and get those like blades, those blades for feet, so you can kind of bounce while you run. Cool. That'd be great.
Those are for runners.
Put a little bounce in your step.
Yeah, cool. I don't really.
I could play
just walk
basketball.
Fast. Wow,
Slam dunk.
Fucking dunk on some hose, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you'll be fine. I have a feeling that you're just feeling down in the dumps, and so you're trying to find more things to worry about.
Maybe.
But I think you'll be okay. I think you'll wake up 40, healthy and refreshed and ready to get your ass handed to you by life.
Again.
Yeah, for another 40 years.
He has a vested interest in you being okay because he only has 2 more months.
That's
he's
true.
not okay.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Plus, it's he's got a job to keep.
It's true. And now he has another mouth to feed.
Not yet.
Yeah,
not yet.
So you have a clump of cells to feed right now.
Which is
great for your salary.
Yeah, right. Well, and also that never changes. We're all just a clump of cells.
Yeah.
Dying slowly every day.
Correct. Some of us faster than others. Yeah.
Closer, too.
Debbie Downer.
Doc and I decided that somehow I actually passed him in age along the way. I don't know how. But and fast. Like I went by like a fucking race car.
Hey, was that Justin?
But Doc is now officially younger than I am.
Congratulations, Doc.
I feel it.
I think that's what's going to happen. Like on when you turn 40, you guys are going to like switch. It's going to be like some sort of weird, science experiment, and then you're going to be his Dorian Gray picture. Right? He'll keep you in a room, and he'll never age because you're aging for him.
I think that's
the way I'm looking at it.
It's as close to any theory I have.
Fuck yeah.
We'll
Let's do
see
it.
what you look like next year.
We will. Or tomorrow. So that's what's happening in my life. On today's show, though, we got a lot of great things happening to you, for you, maybe to you. I don't know. This show is brought to you by our good friends over at More Beer. You can go to morebeer.com and check them out, and they've got everything for beer making, wine making, cider making, coffee making. You can make almost anything.
Root beer, they do.
Oh yeah.
Probably more stuff than
you can
that.
grow hops. I mean, you name it. Go to morebeer.com and check them out. Of course, they bring you this program in every session that we do, and they've been doing that for years. I hope they never quit on me, basically.
Love those guys.
They're amazing. Show them some love. Put a little comment in the field when you order, and just let them know, thanks for supporting the BN, because I would say greater than any other single sponsor, although there are several involved in our success, More Beer has really been a huge part of that. So go check them out. On today's show, Upland Brewing Company from Bloomington, Indiana is on the program. They flew all the way out from Indiana to hang out with us. We're going to be talking to a few of their guys. They got their head of brewery operations is here. Their innovation lead brewer is here. And their quality control manager, which is cool. We get to talk about how they
that's awesome.
What techniques they use and how quality control is important. So doing that on today's show. If you want to speak to the guests, you can call us at 888-401-BEER. Bevo may or may not answer your phone call, depending on how her online shopping is going over there.
Target's having a wicked sale right now.
Yeah. You can also, of course, join us in our live chat room, and that's the best way to get to us. You can just send your questions that way. Just go to our homepage. Under the community tab, you'll see live chat. It's super simple. You don't even have to sign up. You can be anonymous in there if you want. Be nice, though. Bevo has the power to kick you out, and she's not afraid to use it. But you can send us questions for our guests that way, or questions about anything else. Let me get through a few announcements. I was letting you know last week we got a lot of events happening in Colorado at our new Hop Grenade location in Fort Collins, all focused around the Great American Beer Festival. The Rare Barrel is going to be out there. That's on a Wednesday. I believe it's Wednesday, October 4th. The day before that, we're doing a bus tour from Denver to Fort Collins on Tuesday, October 3rd. Those tickets are now available. You can get all this information by going to thebrewingnetwork.com and clicking on our events tab, and you'll see all of this. You'll be able to click over to tickets for that. Buy tickets now before it sells out. That'll get you a bus tour. It leaves in the morning from Denver, goes all the way up to Fort Collins, and you're going to get to visit, I think it might be 3 different breweries. Yeah, New Belgium, Odell's, and Funkworks. Plus, you get to see the all-new Hop Grenade and our other favorite tap room in town, Tap and Handle. So a lot of good things happening with that one. Plus, like I said, already mentioned, you can come meet and taste the guys from the Rare Barrel. Taste their beer anyway.
Oh. Taste the guys?
I don't know. They're pretty
Jay's
open.
Face.
They're pretty open about everything.
They're gamers.
So,
I might be down for that.
Yeah, it could be all right. They're going to be on hand. They're going to do a live sour hour on October 4th, so you can check that out and also taste the beers from there. And then the Monday after, which is October 9th, with Joyride Brewing Company, we're doing the session live from Fort Collins.
Oh, Joyride. I know those guys.
Yeah, good guys. We met them a while ago.
Great,
big fans of the show. And, we want to do a Colorado brewery while I'm out there. So we'll be doing the session live from there on October 9th. You can come meet us and hang out. And they make some good beer, too. So a lot happening around the GABF in Fort Collins. Like I said, go to thebrewingnetwork.com, click on our events page, and you'll be able to learn all about that stuff. Here in Concord, California, on the 29th of this month of September, we're having the Doze Pro-Am night here at the Hop Grenade. So we got a bunch of our local homebrew club dozers coming in and serving the Pro-Am beers that they've done with local breweries. Right. We've done that before with them, too, and it's always a lot of fun. So come out for that. Get to meet some cool homebrewers and check it out. Especially if you don't, if you're local here and you don't already have a homebrew club, it's a great chance to meet the Doze guys.
Talk about what they do and get a chance, 4 chances to drink the beer with the brewer. Guy that knows the beer.
That's right. And they're fun people. I like most of them.
There'll be a lot of them here. There'll be almost all of them here.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of those guys here too.
They're good guys.
They all love each other. I love them. So, yeah.
They meet here a lot too, which is a lot of fun. Yeah. So, the 21st Amendment's got a new beer out. We've been talking about, of course. It's called Tasty. You can go to 21st-amendment.com and check that out. Big hit, that beer.
It is.
I don't know why we don't have it on tap right now. I'm
trying to get another one back in here.
Okay, good. I've only had it in cans, so I'm curious to try it on tap, too.
I've never had them side by side. I want to try this sometime.
Yeah, me too. That'd be fun to do on the show, so let me know if you get that keg in here.
Yeah, we do. Keep a can.
Yeah. But you can go to 21st-Amendment and check that out. It's got a lovely graphic of Tasty on the cover. Yeah, you're going to want to see that. I got it tattooed to my body for my birthday, actually. It's still healing. I don't want to show it to you yet.
Where is it? Maybe we don't want to see it.
It's on my ass.
Looks like Christ on the cross right now.
Yeah, it's a little bloody right now. All right, you can support the Brewing Network by doing your Amazon shopping. Just click the Amazon links. They're all over our website. You can do that if you're from the U.S. There's also a link from the U.K. And you just shop as normal, and we get a little piece of the action. Of course, a lot of you do that already, and we thank you for it. But it's a great way to support us without spending any extra cash. If you want to do a little more, you can subscribe and join the BN Army. Just click the donate button of any denomination. You can do a one-time donation, but if you do a recurring donation, spend, you become a member in the BN Army, and you're eligible for our More Beer monthly donation giveaway, where More Beer gives away $100 a month to one of our BN Army members to spend, which is a nice batch of beer you can make, or some new equipment, whatever. If you're a current BN Army member, just a reminder, make sure that your address is current in PayPal, because if it's not, we can't notify you that you've won. And that's happened before.
That's right.
I will let you know. Yeah. We've had a winner. We tried multiple times to contact them, and we've had to go ahead and pick the next person down the line. So it'd be a shame if you finally win that $100 and you can't retrieve it. So make sure your info is all up to date. Plus, if you're a BN Army member, you get our monthly newsletter written by the lovely Kim Shimke. It's all right,
It's fine. It reads more like a Cosmo article than it does like a beer newsletter, but it's okay.
It's always like top 10 tricks in the brewery.
Glamour. Let's get it right.
Yeah.
Glamour.
Hey, Kim. How are you?
Hi.
So you get our monthly...
I didn't know who you were.
The newsletter. You look very nice tonight, Kim.
Do I?
As compared to
Kim's kind of dialed up her thing for the last 6 months. She's starting to find herself.
I think she has a crush on me is what's happening.
I thought it was me.
She's done her hair. It could be both. She could want the old Eiffel Tower.
Shit.
Her hair's looking lovely.
I didn't shower today.
Which is attractive to us. I feel like
we're on your level.
I feel like you're playing the game.
Her shirt has some holes in it. Stacking that deck, girl.
They were saying yesterday.
Yeah. You're like, man, those girls that don't shower.
I like to underwhelm and underpromise. I feel like that's the best approach,
We're fans of those things.
I like to underwear, personally.
Yeah. What kind of underwear do you wear, Shimke? Are you more of the
it depends on what's on sale. You mean the style or the brand?
More the style, yeah.
Oh,
you're not a thong wearer.
Only for special occasions.
Dates
I think thongs are out
tonight.
I like the half between thong, half between booty short. It's
I like those.
Somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. That's a nice choice.
You mean like regular underwear?
It's a good all around. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but then you get a little more comfort.
It's more comfortable
and style.
And it's not up your ass, but you don't get the same panty lines that you would with an actual
right.
brief.
Plus, if you find yourself in a surprise sex situation, you're ready. You're not.
I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surprise sex.
Lucky Monday.
And then while we're at it, I've always been curious. Are you a Tinder user? Is that your thing, or do you have to meet people the traditional ways?
I did it for 2 months.
You did.
And it was the most god-awful experience of my entire life.
Why didn't you let me know? I would have loved a write-up, a blog of that experience.
I did, because Scott and I were on it at the same time.
Oh.
And we were sharing
Scott
stories.
on Tinder, too. Wow.
Now we know why it was miserable.
Interesting how the two sides would come out. She's telling the horror stories of who they meet, and with Scott, he's the horror story.
Still fresh in my
Everyone was
mind.
great. I don't know why.
Do that.
Right or left?
I would like the write-up. Okay.
Left.
And are you dating currently? I'm just letting our listeners know if you're available.
I don't think the listeners care.
You never know.
The phone's just lit up.
The phone.
There's no light, people. There's no light.
You can't see it from that angle.
You guys are actually worse than Tinder, by the way. So.
Well, you haven't said if you're available or not yet.
And we're heavily ad-based, so there's that, too.
Everybody's available. It's just, the price changes as you more committed you are. So.
Can we do a date with Shimke giveaway? Things are a little tight around here lately, so...
The Twitter game has to have a prize.
It's true.
Tonight's prize is Kim Shimke.
He'll be like, who?
Next week, a hat.
Googling Kim Shimke and some nun in Norway.
Looking up Justin, seeing what his Facebook contacts are. If there's a Kim in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh.
They're like, God, I hope it's not that one.
Sounds like Kim is the expert on cyber stalking there. You know how to go a couple layers.
Yeah.
I do. I'm actually really good at it. I found my friend's date was a convict in Ukiah.
Huh?
Wow.
I found his mugshot.
Really?
I swear to God, this actually happened.
Was
it
it
totally
post
made my
or
life.
pre-date?
It was post-date.
Murder,
so they had one
say.
date, and she couldn't find a lot on him. And so I found his name. It was a fairly unique name, and Ukiah's not that big. So if you know the person's age, you know where they live and their name, you can pretty much find them.
Right.
So, and I did an image search, as I do first and foremost, and his freaking mugshot came up.
Wow. Yeah, but felony or misdemeanor? Come on.
It's not so bad now because he was arrested in 2012 for selling marijuana, and now that it's legal, it kind of doesn't matter.
Sure.
It didn't matter anyways, let's be honest.
Yeah. Did you dig deeper?
I mean, it might have.
There might be another conviction.
Did she stop dating him after that?
Only because he was too far.
I see. Okay, she didn't care.
They were
about
both too lazy.
Both
I mean,
stoners.
Ukiah is what, like 2 hours away?
Yeah.
Well,
maybe 3.
Right.
That's a long
Far
distance
enough.
relationship.
I agree. All right, Kim Shipke, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank
My
you, Kim.
legacy. Wow.
Kim also takes care of our Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, so you can sign up for those updates and you get information. And I don't know what she does there, but stuff. And send feedback over to feedback@thebrewingnetwork.com. You can send your show ideas there as well if you want. We read your feedback on air if it's any good or if it's terrible. Sometimes that's what we like.
True.
So do that. We like to hear from you. All right. Do we have a Twitter game today?
Why, yes, we do, Justin.
I figured we would.
Thank you.
The Twitter game is brought to you today by the American Homebrewers Association and their all-new Brew Guru app. They put out a new edition recently. Wow. Yeah, they've already updated it, and it's not even that old already. The Brew Guru app, if you're a member, which you should be, will help you find all of the member benefits that you can possibly find. You can just walk down the street, have it open, and it'll ping you when you're walking by a place and just let you know everything that will offer you your member discount. The member discounts are so robust that you can easily recoup the entire cost of your AHA membership by using it. So get the Brew Guru app in whatever store you use, iTunes or Google Play, or I guess that's it.
Yeah.
And use it. And if you're not an AHA member, you can click the AHA link on our homepage and sign up that way. That helps us as well. And you've heard us before. You should be a member of the American Homebrewers Association. I also noticed, by the way, that nominations are up for the governing committee.
Ooh, I saw that.
Right now, they've got 5 positions to fill this year. And if you want to nominate somebody, you just go check with that somebody first, because, of course, they have to be willing to run and be on the governing committee, and then you can submit their name.
We should submit Kim Shimke.
I was supposed to say the same thing.
Again, who?
Yeah, you would be,
some broad.
Yeah.
You would be pretty good on the governing committee, I think.
You have to go to Denver every once in a while.
You know, I was
a couple
the
guys on
foreperson
the
of jury
committee.
duty fairly recently.
Is that right?
That is right.
So was I.
How did
I was
that
voted
go?
by my peer. No, you weren't.
I was.
You were the foreman?
Yeah. But I elected myself because nobody
Well,
wanted to
see,
do it.
that's a big difference.
Yeah.
I was elected by my peers.
Wow.
By your peers.
How long did they know you before nominating you for this position?
I mean, I think it was just no one else wanted to do
Yeah.
it,
So
and I was
the
one of the
same-
younger ones,
yeah.
so they were
Right.
like, she's not going to fight us.
Give it to that idiot. She'll do it.
my resume.
Is jury duty over?
Yeah.
How long were you on there for?
It was only a 5-day case. It was misdemeanor.
Oh, what was the crime?
Assault against a police officer.
Throw the book at him.
Intervening during an arrest. Because she saw someone else being arrested and felt the need to intervene.
So it was a white person.
No.
Oh, surprising.
No.
Okay.
But like she was intervening during an arrest that was for a 5150 suspect, which is any sort of psychiatric kind of case. So she was
trying to help.
Idiot.
Oh, she wasn't even trying to. Okay.
No, she was just there and drunk, and she had her phone. Oh, and disorderly conduct under the influence.
Oh, wow.
Good.
She's got the misdemeanor book
The
thrown at her.
trifecta, yeah, good.
So did she do it?
You know what? We were a hung jury.
Oh, great foremanning, Kim.
Yeah. Wow.
So
You're great at your job.
So you
Well,
lost
some of
5
these
days for nothing.
Either she
All these
did it
people-
or she didn't. God damn it.
You
What I
said
don't
she had a
understand is
phone.
we had video surveillance footage.
Okay.
So I'm like, I don't understand how like 12 different people can have such a different perspective when we're watching the exact same
Did she touch the
video
cop?
footage.
Did the cop want her to touch him? Guilty.
I've been wondering why there's even a trial.
Exactly.
When you're
Right.
looking at it.
Allegedly.
Yeah, I don't know how that's
Looking
done.
at it.
So it goes back to the courts or whatever the DA wants to do with it.
Wow.
They get
Good
more people
prosecutor.
waste 5 more
But
days.
it's very frustrating to have like looking at a video and telling people, no, this is what happened because we can actually see it, and
Right.
they're like, no, I don't know if that's true.
Oh, my God.
But no, it's not like we
Said it
can't
was.
dispute it. It's on camera.
Yeah, we're not defining truth here.
But was it a
It's
crime?
there.
Well, see, that's the thing is you have to look at like all these details of how the law works. Is like there are all these basically exclusions and
Bored.
Yeah.
But it's a misdemeanor, a crime.
See,
so.
their first mistake was not getting a jury for man.
because then we would have been there for 5 goddamn weeks.
Right. Probably
he
ended
would
up
have
in
been
the same
guilty
boat.
then.
Then the jury actually would have been hung.
How long have you been waiting to use that joke? Years, right?
Since
Years.
you said
Since you said hung jury.
I
Yeah.
saw.
No, I feel like he's been been holding on to it for a while. He just hasn't known anyone that's been on a jury.
You were telling the story, and Warren was in computation mode. Like, his eyes rolled back in his head, and they were spinning. I was expecting 2 cherries to come up at the end and then spit out the joke.
Glad in the few minutes you came up with something, Warren.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, once again, Kim Shimke, ladies and gentlemen.
Why do we have her on?
Because she's running for
There's an empty seat.
governing committee.
Right. Well, we'll see if anybody nominates you.
Right.
First.
How do you spell your last name?
I'm typing
I'm
it in,
pretty
too.
sure it's SHEIMKKEE.
Oh.
Worked with Justin for over 3 years, and he legitimately cannot spell my last name.
No, well, it's a dumb name. So
And he can't spell.
It's German, so it's superior.
I guess it should be. All right.
Same.
So, what's our Twitter game?
Our Twitter game is, well, recently, I don't know how many people know this, Adidas, or if you're in Europe, Adidas, right, released a waterproof shoe. I think maybe we talked about it a little bit last week.
Oh, I've seen this,
The vomit-proof shoe for Oktoberfest.
Yes.
It's made with the same leather as Lederhosen and whatever. So I was wondering what sort of waterproof, vomit-proof, blood-proof, fluid-proof piece of clothing the BN Army would make to wear out to Oktoberfest.
At our events and gatherings, where all of those things are likely to happen.
That's true, and more.
Okay. All right. Great Twitter game, JP.
Thanks.
You can send that in at the end of the show. We'll pick a winner. And what do we give away to our winners, by the way, like a shirt or something?
T-shirts.
T-shirts. Okay.
Bev's a true salesman.
We still have those? Good. All right. Okay.
The old ones, right?
Kim's safe for tonight.
Yeah, that's right. All right. I got a very short feedback. We can do it anyway. Feedback's brought to you today by the Beer Law Center. You go to beerlawcenter.com. Our good friend John, who takes care of our trademark, a hardworking man, can take care of your trademark and copyright material, too. He can also help you with your brewery filing paperwork, especially if you're in North Carolina. And he's got a book coming out about all these things, so that I guess, I don't know, he's trying to put himself out of work. You don't even have to call him.
That's true.
No, the book's very good.
It's a very good primer as to what you should know before you get into these legal issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on like revision 6 right now. It's getting close.
Getting close. Forward written by a Mr. Jason Petros.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know what? And I think I will be. I'm good. I know. Really. He wrote me. He's like, "Is this?" He goes, "You always say that you're ready to write a forward for a book. Is that a joke or not?" And I go, "Well, I don't know. Do you have a forward you need written? Because I can make it not a joke if you want."
And he's like, yeah, and the entire list of people I asked to do it refused, so I'm pretty much left with you.
Shlomo, the bum, was busy. I will be going on a 12-city Barnes & Noble's tour.
Nice, just to sign the forward.
Just to sign the forward.
He's going to read the forward.
Like
I will do a select reading. Yeah.
I think you've been misinformed. There are not 12 Barnes & Nobles left. So
yeah, I know.
You might just be going like into the city at the one, leaving the city grounds and coming back into the same one 12 times.
Like the next day?
12 days.
Maybe 12. Maybe that's what my agent meant, 12 days.
Right. It's a 12-day tour, not a 12
of the Barnes & Nobles in Walnut Creek.
Yeah. Because I'm sure he also sent you a single hotel reservation.
Yes.
You might have noticed.
Well,
you just thought all the cities were nearby.
Well, yeah. I mean, there are Uber and Lyft and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know. I expected a limo.
Well, have fun in Fargo.
Thank you. I really will.
On your book tour.
Thank you.
And get the forward right on the 7th revision, please. I think John's ready for his book to be published.
The book's been done for a year,
exactly.
But JP's forward is not quite there yet.
Mine's done, turned in. I'll read it to you right now if you want.
Turned in. All right, in the feedback, Michael writes in about our BN app that the stream and the app has not been playing correctly. That probably started over the weekend. I left for birthday celebrations on Friday. It was working fine, but noticed when I came in today it was not. It should be fixed now and working properly, so let me know if not. But all should be back up and running. And then, the next one was about a brewery interview. I don't normally read our recommendations on the air, but since we don't really have any other feedback today, I guess I could read it. Chris just writes in that we missed out on a good time when we went to Minneapolis for the Homebrew Con by not visiting Hammerheart Brewing Company, which is located north of town in Lino Lakes, Beardy.
Oh.
Do you know where Lino Lakes is?
I think the locals say
Lino
Lakes.
8 hours away. Okay, Lino Lakes. Is it actually close? A lot of times we get recommendations like that, like, oh my God, you guys were in Minneapolis. You didn't come see us.
Yeah.
Well, where are you located? 6 hours north.
Yeah. I'm actually on the moon.
Yeah.
So come see us.
I don't know.
Florida.
I've never been there or to that brewery, so
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly how close it is to the cities or not.
Okay, as usual, Beardy is useless.
Yep. That's why I'm here.
Anyhow, he just said we should have gone there, and it's a Nordic and black metal themed brewery and tap room. JP,
yeah, I'm fucking stoked about it.
So everything they make is steeped in Nordic folklore and ideas and everything.
It's 30 minutes north of Minneapolis.
Okay,
Yeah, like I said.
Apparently, everything, and he has that capitalized, is smoked in some way.
Jesus Christ!
Which means I
really want to go there.
would have hated this.
I would have loved that. Love that, John.
Well, you smoke.
Yeah, you're right.
So technically everything.
You're right.
He doesn't want to breathe the beer. That would be dangerous.
Yeah, if I could inhale the beer, I'd be down.
Yeah.
Oh, you just don't want to drink smoke?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
That makes sense.
Anyway, he just says maybe we should interview them. So, yeah, we'll check it out. If you want to send brewery ideas, send them over to feedback@thebrewingnetwork.com. Thanks for writing that in, Chris. I appreciate it. And that is all we have for feedback today. So that's exciting, I guess.
No yay.
Yeah.
Next time.
Doc's underwhelmed with our feedback. Okay. Before we go to break, just remember that Beersmith homebrewing software is about the best, and by about, I mean it's actually the best.
Right.
Brewing software on the market. Professionals use it. Homebrewers use it. You can get yourself a free 21-day trial. It works on both Mac and a PC, so you don't have to take our word for it. There are tutorials galore, both in video format. Plus, he's got a podcast that talks about all things beer. You can always write your questions into Brad. It's just a highly supported piece of software, and he does revisions all the time. It's his full-time gig, so you can be sure you're getting the best in brewery software. And if you're still doing all your stuff on paper,
save a tree, bro.
You're at least as old as I am, but you really ought to upgrade to some technology. It'll help you do things you didn't even know you needed it to do.
Yeah, you make better beer.
Go to beersmith.com to check that out, and you won't be disappointed. And if you are, send it back, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Plus, you're an idiot.
Well, that's true, too.
You get the free trial.
That's what I mean. So
send the free trial back.
Send it back.
If you don't like it,
you send your email back.
Right.
Yeah. Take
print out the code and mail it back to them.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, like I said, we got a great show planned for you today. Upland Brewing Company's on the program. We're going to be talking about sour beer with them. Plus, they brought a lager just for JP, they told me. Yeah, they didn't want to hear you bitch all show long about IPAs.
I would have done it, too.
So hang in there. It's the session, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to the Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
Are you a member of the White Labs Customer Club? If not, you should be. It's the easiest way to earn free stuff for turning in your old homebrew labels from either Vials or Pure Pitch. All you have to do is save your labels and redeem them for things like free yeast, an exclusive White Labs t-shirt or sweatshirt, and even the opportunity to brew with the yeast man himself, Chris White. Signing up is easy. Just go to whitelabs.com/customer club, fill out the registration form, and then mail in your labels. They will return the favor by sending you awesome White Labs swag. Go sign up today at whitelabs.com/customer club. White Labs, pure yeast and fermentation since 1995.
The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
Do you like beer? They make beer.
Watch out!
Do you like friends and fun? They make friends and fun.
Watch out!
Do you still like to have a good time? The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
The 21st Amendment in San Francisco, located at 563 2nd Street, 2 blocks from the building where baseball is seen and played. Try their beers in the pub or try them in the can, featuring
Monk's Blood.
Made with real monk.
Watch out!
So why not have the best time of your life? Go to the 21A and Sean O'Sullivan will personally greet you with a can of
Monk's Blood. The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
This advertisement is not in any way affiliated nor associated with the 21st Amendment Bar and Pub, nor its subsidiaries or affiliates. This telecast is not copywritten by the 21st Amendment for the private use of the Brewing Network. Any use of this telecast without Jamil Zainashev's consent is prohibited. Suck it, JP.
Brewing great beer is a process of continuous learning, and the best books on every aspect of brewing can be found at Brewers Publications, with more than 50 awesome titles like Modern Homebrew Recipes by Gordon Strong, Designing Great Beers, the Ultimate Guide to Brewing Classic Beer Styles by Ray Daniels, American Sour Beers, Innovative Techniques for Mixed Fermentations by Michael Tonsmeyer, For the Love of Hops, The Practical Guide to Aroma, Bitterness, and the Culture of Hops by Stan Hieronymus, and Radical Brewing, Recipes, Tales, and World-Altering Meditations in a Glass by Randy Mosher, plus many, many more. These are the books and the authors with the knowledge to push your brewing farther than you thought possible. And you'll find them all at fine homebrew and book retailers everywhere. And visit the website at brewerspublications.com. Brewers Publications, all the best on beer and brewing.
Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
Marin Brewing Company in Northern California has been making award-winning beers for more than 25 freaking years. Today, I want to tell you about their new 12-ounce cans of Mount Tam Pale Ale. The good stuff. Mount Tam is bright gold, 5.5% ABV to keep you feeling good, and has been winning awards since 1989. If you're visiting the Bay Area, get your butt out to Marin Brewing Company. They pour tasty beers and serve great food every day until midnight. Come in for a tour, stay for the food, and pick up a 6-pack of cans of Mount Tam Pale Ale to enjoy at home, camping, biking, or whatever the hell you do. Owner Brendan Moylan has this to say about Marin Brewing beers. It's freaking awesome. Marin Brewing has won more than 100 gold medals in international competitions. Check out marinbrewing.com for all their award-winning beers, food, and merch. Marin Brewing Company in Larkspur, California. Award-winning taste, refreshing finish. It's freaking awesome.
Hey, motherfuckers, this is Doug from fucking Society. You're listening to the session on the fucking Brewing Network. Fuck you.
That's right, Dougie. Thanks for joining us here on the session. A lot of things to do today. Great show planned for you. I want to remind you about one of our wonderful sponsors, Great Fermentations. You can go over to greatfermentations.com. They've got the largest catalog of Blickman products on the web, and their staff is some of the best trained in the business in using Blickman products. They offer top-notch customer service and same-day shipping on so many items. Check them out at greatfermentations.com, and be sure to like them on Facebook at GR8 Fermentation, Great Fermentation, and find them on Instagram and Twitter as well with the same handle. GreatFermentations.com. Thanks for all the support. We appreciate it. All right, so on the show today, as I've been telling you, we've got Upland Brewing Company on the program, and right now we're going to be talking to, oh man, I just asked a pronunciation too, but Pete Batule. Did I remember it right, Pete?
You got it.
Yes, yeah. Pete Batule and Matt Wisley are on the program with us. Welcome to the studio, guys. Let's see, Pete, you're the head of brewery operations. Which is kind of head brewer, right? Is covering all things brewing.
Yeah, we've got 2 different brewing facilities, so I kind of oversee both, bouncing back and forth. We got a couple key guys developing recipes, and got about 3 or 4 key brewers that are doing a lot of recipe development. So
He does everything but brewing.
Everything but brewing, which is actually we will talk about. I know that's probably half a joke, but it's funny when we get the titles sometimes or find how companies grow that actually brewing can easily be taken out of the daily role. So we'll talk with you about that.
Well, generals don't shoot the gun.
Right. That's right, yeah. And then Matt's the innovation lead brewer. Describe that to us.
So basically, I'm a production brewer for the most part. like 4 to 5 days a week, and then once every week or every other week, I get a chance to play around and do some R&D. We got a little 10-gallon Sabco system that we brew on, so just kegels, and so I'll work on new recipes, new processes. Try and do some things that we've never got a chance to play around before, and see if we can fit those into our portfolio.
Excellent. And we're going to be talking a lot about sour beer with these guys today, so it sounds to me like that probably falls in a lot into the small batch and innovation side too, to figure out where you guys want to go with that.
Actually, that's kind of a process that's been rolling for quite some time. We only have like 3 different recipes that we do on the sour side, and we use a lot of different fruits and spices and other ingredients. So most of the innovation is just like, what's the next fruit that's going to come into it? What's the next spice that's going to come into it?
Sure.
And then Adam Covey, who we have back here as well, it'll be on later. He does a lot of work in the lab and runs the quality department and does some blending with us as well. So that's where that's where a lot of the innovation comes into play in the sour side, is how we're going to put this stuff together in different ways.
Okay. So officially, you guys are from Bloomington, Indiana, although I know you've expanded with more locations since then. But you started there, and when was that? How long have you guys been open?
Yeah, so the brewery started in 1998, so next year's our 20th anniversary. Started out making ales. Our Belgian-style wit beer was really our big flagship. That's what kind of got us to grow. 80% of what we were doing up till about 10,000 barrels or so was all our Belgian wit beer. We also do an IPA. Dragonfly IPA is our flagship. Now that is our best-selling beer in the Midwest.
IPA. Makes sense, of course.
And then about 10 years ago is when we started to experiment with sour beer. So
that was early on in the sour beer thing.
Yeah, in about 2006. We're really fortunate. We live about 20 minutes from a really large winery, Oliver Winery. And so the program really started out with us trading some cases of beer for some of their barrels.
Okay.
And then so each year we would actually try to offload some barrels that were spent, and we really wanted that neutral oak character, so we continue to grow the program from there. So Oliver's been a really great partner with us, and that's really kind of how we got started with wood aged sours.
Got it. And of course, it's not that sour beer didn't exist in 10 years ago. Obviously, it existed in Europe and some here in the U.S. Like Russian River was doing it, and probably though only a handful of other breweries, I'm thinking, at that time here in the U.S. So
it wasn't a whole lot.
Yeah.
Were there customers looking for those beers, or did you have to introduce a lot of people to sour beer?
We had a former head brewer, Caleb Staten, who he started as a very small project. So we're talking 2 barrels. And
so you didn't have a lot of it.
Yeah, we may have been ahead of the game in terms of the idea, but we were only producing a very small quantity until very recently. We have a new facility now. A year and a half ago, we opened this place we called Wood Shop. So we got a bunch of fooders in there. We have all the old barrels that we had too. We have what do we have? 11 fooders now total. So we're able to produce a lot more than we were before, and actually increase the quality of it because we've got a dedicated team to keep it rolling through, and everything is tasted down to the last barrel, and we can really make it taste like we want to, instead of just trying to what barrels are available and we got to get them out before they get too old, kind of a thing. So
that was a big learning curve there for American brewers, I can't imagine you had a big market for it. In fact, I think the Brewing Network is partly responsible for the popularity of sour beer.
I think if
you
solely responsible.
I'm only half joking about that, in the sense that I say, with a large audience, I don't think any other media company was talking about sour beers as often as we were. And we were doing it 10 years ago, too.
Absolutely.
By sour beer, you mean homebrew.
We're getting sour beers from Europe. We're talking about them, and then the local ones as well.
Well, I think we had Russian River, of course, just in our backyard, so that helped. And then I think I just tried my first Cantillon and wouldn't shut the fuck up about it for the next 10 years.
For sure. And then it didn't hurt that we were comparing the Russian River beers with the quality of Cantillon, and so we're responsible for Vinny's
success
launch. Really. Yeah. Well, but I think you're right, and I think if you take even a couple other styles of beer. Yeah. We're talking about them, and it's helping. It's not hurting. I'll tell you that.
Well, at least I guess, and the honest part of what I'm saying is, if nobody else was giving a voice to some of these things, I guess at least we were. And whether that influenced 5 people or 100 people, I don't know. But so you probably got at least 3 customers based on our
a day.
Thanks for that. I really thank you so much.
That's half the population of Indiana, right?
And look, at a couple barrels at a time, that's a good chunk of the beer you were making.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So now, I have heard the Upland name for a really long time, and I think that's because of how long we've been doing the Great American Beer Festival, maybe. You guys have been a very successful brewery in terms of awards and things, haven't you, over the years?
Yeah, we've taken home a couple of medals. Our wit beer did take home a medal, and our Sour Reserve, actually, that we're tasting here, that won gold for Goose back in 2012. So.
Okay. And talk to me about the wit beer and why you think, or if it was planned, that was so much of your production early on. Was it just that it was palatable for the local, beer crowd, or obviously it must have been a great beer on top of that, but.
Yeah, I think we had a lot of support in Bloomington for being one of the few. There was only 2 breweries at the time in Bloomington, and it's definitely one of those transitional beers. And it originally was brewed with orange peel, chamomile, a little bit of coriander, and I think there was just really a lot of support in Bloomington, and we became kind of one of the. Oftentimes we referred that the beer was called Upland Wheat. It was just kind of what we were known for throughout the state.
That wheat brand, I think, was something that early on was very marketable. To me, it seems, some breweries have come in and said, well, yeah, we started with an American light lager or cream ale. Like some of these things were popular for breweries who started in the 90s because it was a style, at least, that could sort of easily transition. And it sounds like maybe this was just part of that, too. I mean, because correct me if I'm wrong, there probably weren't a lot of craft breweries producing hoppy IPAs in Indiana in 1998.
No, definitely not.
Okay.
But the wheat was really just a great transitional beer. We had our IPA, we had our pale ale. Our pale ale was actually also one of our flagships early on as well. It was really approachable. Our wheat, our pale, and then Dragonfly.
Okay. Is the pale ale the same recipe now as it was back then?
Everything's actually kind of evolving as we go. So, especially once we got a production facility on the other side of town where we just do all the clean beers now. So we have a separate sour facility to our main brewery, and we're constantly just tasting and evaluating based on mainly our own preferences, but also consumer feedback and just how the times are changing, especially with hoppy beers, and we're making tweaks and adjustments all the time.
Got it.
Pale ale, another style that we wouldn't shut up about.
That's true.
I'm just trying to
that one we just still don't shut up about,
true.
really.
That's true.
What number seller would you say the wit is now, the wheat?
It's still number 2.
Is it really?
It's right behind our Dragonfly, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it does really well. What's kind of fun about wheat, we're in a college town, so Indiana University is based in our town, and a lot of folks talk about that being that was their first craft beer. So we got folks in Chicago or in D.C. or all throughout Indiana that graduated from IU, and they kind of, that beer resonates with a lot of people. So that's what's kind of fun about that. So.
And I'm seeing some cans on my desk here. Is that a beer that you put into cans? The wit seems like the perfect style.
We do. It's mainly in bottles, but we also do throughout the summertime. We'll put it in a can, 16 ounce.
Okay, got it.
That's when I like to do it in summertime.
I see your lager in a can here, JP, on our desk. I was told, as I mentioned, that was brought for you.
I'm appreciating it.
I think it's actually called "Shut the Fuck Up, JP" lager.
You bitch enough and you get what you want.
Yeah,
it's really
true. The squeaky wheel.
Yeah, it's called "We Get It, You Hate IPA" lager.
And we just rather not sit through that.
Yeah.
That's why it's their number 2.
Right. It's cleaner than a bullet to the head.
Is this one the lager here?
It's not that old.
That's the lager.
Oh, this is the lager, the first one. Okay.
Vienna lager.
It's a Vienna lager. Oh, even better. All right, well, let's start with that. Let's taste this beer before we get to the sour. I just heard lager, so I did not instantly assume Vienna lager.
Thank you guys for bringing me lagers, by the way.
Thank you.
Well, they brought it for JP, but...
That's true. No, they already told it was for me.
Offline, they're like doggers.
Yeah. I appreciate you bringing the lager for me, guys. Thank you.
Right.
Well, they probably want your opinion, but they just want JP to shut up.
Right.
That's true.
That's why
I wasn't going to say it.
I like a really nice Illinois here.
It smells wonderful.
How much of this did you bring?
Nice segue, tasty.
Mm-hmm. 1 can.
God damn it.
You're drinking it.
Yeah.
Held up pretty well.
That's really good.
Oh, that is very good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and for this, we partner with a local maltster. So the base for this is a Vienna malt from Sugar Creek Malt near Indianapolis.
Okay. This,
what's
to
the
me...
Lullaby? How dark is that?
I think it's about 3.5. Yeah.
This, to me, has all of the qualities I really love about a Negro Modelo without all the shit I really don't like.
Right.
That mass-produced flavor, the adjunct that might be used in
like
it.
Spanish on the label.
It's like sweet. It has like this kind of sweet fullness to it. There's not a hop character to it at all.
Yeah, but it's not cloying.
Right.
It doesn't. It's not.
I'm talking about Negro Modelo,
the
not
Negro.
this. Yes.
Okay, yeah. Which is that's the sweet one, which
Right.
sticks around a little. I actually still like the beer. I will have that beer from time to time.
Yeah, I have a 6-pack in my fridge right now.
This is just like a 85% better version of that to me. It has some of the same qualities. What did you guys use as your basis, for this recipe to figure out how to make a real? Because it tastes like a real Vienna lager to me, basically.
It's actually just our first try. We got a brewer named Bill Mullins. He spent most of his time at Dogfish Head and what was that place in Wisconsin he used to work? Should give them a shout out. Titletown, in Wisconsin. So
we've had them on the show.
Yeah, Bill is our go-to guy for easy drinking stuff.
Okay.
Like he's an easygoing dude, and like anytime we got a recipe for like a nice English ale or something like that, we just point to him and he does some research and comes out with a nice easy drinking beer.
He sounds like our Chad when we had a Chad.
Yeah.
We sort of kind of a Chad. We can call him once in a while.
That's true. This is a troublemaker beer to me too. It's a little. It's a little too easy drinking for people like me who have no self-control.
This is true.
I feel like this one just sneaks up on you after the 6-pack. It's so easy to drink, and then you're just like, oh shit.
What's the ABV on it?
It's about 4.7.
There you go. See, god damn it.
What does the malt bill look like? You guys have any of the details on that?
So it's the vast majority of it is Vienna malt from Sugar Creek Malt. There's
is that local maltster?
Local maltster from Indianapolis, and there's a couple different types of Munich in there. A little bit of Crystal, I think Crystal 60, but that's all I can remember off the top of my head.
That's interesting to me how authentic it tastes, but not with the majority of the malt being German. That's a good local maltster you guys have there, paying attention to how things are supposed to be done.
Yeah, actually, he sources barley within 150 miles of his location. They're all German barley varieties as well.
Oh, okay. Great. And then just great at kilning and roasting that malt.
And he's giving us a discount for mentioning it right.
Good. Good on you. Yeah, I really like that. And then hops are German hops or no?
Yeah, it's a blend of noble hops. I cannot remember off the top of my head, but just...
That's okay.
Yeah, very low alpha.
And they're all noble hops, including the bittering hop. Mm-hmm. Yeah? Okay.
Is this a step-mashed beer?
No, we actually cannot step mash in our core facility.
How big is your brew house there in the core facility?
37 barrels.
Okay. Now
that's big.
Yeah. You guys started in 20 years ago. How many barrels would you say you were doing back then? 10 years ago, a year. What do you think? Roughly, I don't care.
10 years ago would have probably been around 4,000 barrels.
Okay.
Maybe.
Wow. Okay. And where do you think you're at now?
We'll probably be north of around 17,000 this year.
Okay.
So.
Got it. Because you guys have grown really quite a bit over time. How many locations do you have?
So right now we've got in Bloomington, we've got 3 locations. Our original brew pub with a restaurant right across the parking lot. We actually brew on that same system. That's what all of our sour beer production is brewed downtown.
Okay.
We will pump underneath the parking lots. We have 2-inch stainless pipe to knock out into the fooders in the wood shop right next door. So we've got a cellar there. We're doing all of our fruiting, cellaring, packaging, all in that facility. And then on the west side is where our main production facility is. We also have a tap room there. So that's Bloomington. And then up in the Indianapolis area, we have a restaurant in Carmel. And then we also have a little tap room in Broad Ripple. And then we just recently, last year, opened up a restaurant in Columbus, Indiana. So that's about 45 minutes or so from Bloomington.
Okay. So in California, when you have the production brewery license, you're then allowed like 6 locations to do tap rooms, all under the same blanket. Does that work the same in Indiana, or did you have to get a different brewery license every time you opened a location?
We have 2 permits for the 2 breweries that we have in Bloomington.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, and we're actually we're not brewing on site at those locations I just mentioned.
Just tasting rooms.
Yeah.
So those fall under the brewery license, I assume. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're distributing to our own locations.
Got it. Do you have a limit on the number of those that you could do? You know?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Well, that's nice. It's advantageous. Okay. And then I just want to back up real quick. You mentioned that you transfer the beer from one building to another. Did you say underground when you do that?
Yeah, so when we were trying to figure out how to kind of grow some capacity with our sours, we used to store everything in a tiny little pole barn. So we'd brew into one fooder, transfer out into barrels, and then store those barrels in this pole barn. When we did the expansion, we really wanted to kind of make it a little bit easier so we don't have to continue to transfer, especially across a very busy parking lot. So we buried this 2-inch stainless line. It's got lots of insulation and protection under there. It's underneath the frost line. So we're going from the brew house up maybe 13 feet or so up to the facility.
Okay.
So
you guys had any issues with that?
No, it's been working out great, actually. Yeah. We're not seeing any major issues with the temperature dropping or cleaning or anything like that. It's actually been working out great.
Okay. I've seen it done before. I just never talked to anybody about it. That's why I asked. And the only brewery I've ever seen, I'm sure there are several, but the one I saw who does it overground is Ninkasi, and they have these 2 buildings just across the street. And I just remember I was parking my shitty RV on that street actually one day because we were going to get drunk that night and need a place to pass out. And I just saw all of these enormous lines, going overground. And so it sounds like an obvious idea to move beer around. You're just figuring out how to do it. And you guys have freezing temperatures there, so overground maybe was an issue.
Yeah, and it's not just a single line shift. So it's a loop. So we'll do. Yeah, we'll have a supply return. We'll CIP it real easily.
Okay.
And it's all very well insulated. It does get cold in Indiana. It's not terribly cold, but we'll get below freezing quite a bit throughout the summer.
Not terribly cold.
That's terribly cold.
Just below freezing. That's all.
To us, that's terrible.
It hardly hits the zeros.
Your ears fall off, but it's fine. You get a new one.
Uninhabitable.
Yeah. All right, I was just curious. So what's this next beer in our glass? I believe it's one of the sour beers we're going to try tonight. You guys know what we're drinking here?
Yeah, so the next one should be the Vino Synth White. So this is, we love this beer because it's a connection with Oliver Winery. This is a sour beer that we add fresh grapes to. So this particular beer has Valvin Muscat grapes coming from Oliver's Creek Bend Vineyard.
Okay.
And this relationship we have with the winery has just been wonderful over the years. We get our barrels from them. We also get grapes from them. So the base beer for this, about 12 months old, and then we will add these grapes in an age for about 3 months on the grapes. Full re-fermentation, let it completely dry out. And we're adding about 2.5 or so pounds per gallon of grapes. So it's got a really nice, vibrant grape character. We've done some things with the winery where we've tasted that Valvin Muscat wine. We've done events with just side by side with the wine. What they're trying to really do is just really hone in on just that grape character, and it really comes through in this beer.
I think you're right.
I get a little bit of that orange blossom, almost like a floral kind of perfume character. A little bit of honey. It's
honeysuckle, like the flower.
Yep,
dude.
Yep,
yeah, for sure.
Really, really beautiful.
Wow.
And I think just the right amount of sourness for the sweetness of those grapes and the honey.
Yeah, well, especially if you're working with like a white wine base, essentially is kind of how I look at it. Those can be kind of tart, as well. So I think it's not out of the realm of possibility for a white wine drinker to gravitate to something like this, and you can really play with that tartness too. And it's really good.
It is good. Is it a blend of multiple years or anything, or just a blend of all the barrels maybe that you used?
Yeah, I mean, Adam's, his main role at the wood shop is to do sensory and blending. So what he does on a routine basis is he's sampling individual barrels and then also kind of all of our fooders. So this particular batch could have some beer that is north of 12 months old, but then possibly some fooder beer to kind of balance that acidity a little bit. So it really is a blend every time we're making a batch. It's not ever, I shouldn't say ever. We've done one beer where it's been one fooder, but everything else we've ever done is a blend of barrels.
And so it's something sounds like maybe that you're keeping this particular beer going constantly. so that you always have beer to blend in? And in other words, this is not a seasonal beer. It wasn't a one-off. This is always available.
The base beer is always in the tanks.
I see.
This particular beer, we'll only make it when we get the grapes. Actually, right around this time of year.
Okay.
Yeah, the vast majority of the sour beers we do are one single base malt bill, so we just call it basis. And so the blend for the sour reserve we're about to taste, and virtually everything that we do with fruit in it is all that one, like lambic style sour blonde beer.
You know, most of the breweries that we've tried that we like the most tend to have that. They don't just keep going crazy with that base beer. They find the one that works and then let the yeast and the fruit do the rest of the talking. Right?
How do you guys go about adding the bacteria and wild yeast?
Well, everything starts with we grow up a starter of the Y yeast lambic blend for most of them, and then Rosellaire for a couple ones. But we also let whatever's going on in our wood keep doing its thing. So we have a lot of things in the wood that we didn't put in there. Mm-hmm. And actually, Matt Bachman at Indiana University, who you guys had on the Sour Hour, he did an analysis of all the stuff that we had living in several of our fooders and everything, and found a few characteristic microorganisms, one of which is Lactobacillus acetotolerans. So that guy is like the master of what's going on in a lot of our fooders. So there's one microorganism that's producing probably the majority of the lactic acid. But we are starting each new batch with the Y yeast lambic blend.
Okay. And then just let what's left in the barrels keep working. Okay. Yeah. All right. And then what form, what do you guys do to the grapes to put them in? You smash them? Are they whole?
No, actually, dirty feet. The first year we did it, we really, a lot of what we do is all hand processed. So for peaches, we'll, cut them by hand, remove the stone. For the grapes, the first year we actually got whole grapes in and pulled them off of by each individual grape one by one. It took an insane amount of time. So the next year we asked Dennis at Oliver if he could run it through his destemmer for us.
Okay, nice.
So now they have to set it up a little bit differently, but they'll bypass some of their equipment. And then get it into totes for us. And as soon, that morning when they start processing, we'll send our truck over there, take the grapes, and then immediately put them into the tanks, add the beer to it.
So still whole grapes as you're putting in the tanks?
Everything's whole grapes.
Not in the barrel. Those are in tanks to start with. Okay.
So they don't crush the grapes?
But they're cracked open, right, from the distemming process a little bit?
Yeah, they're exposed. Yeah, they are exposed.
It's never crushing.
But you're not crushing them.
Yes. But it's not pressed.
It's not squeezed.
No, that happens after the fermentation.
Get the meat and the juice
after the feet.
Yeah, after them feet get in there.
And how long are they in that first tank that you put them in?
3 months. So the primary it goes through re-fermentation about 3 to 4 weeks, and that's it's going to be real active the first couple of weeks, and then we let it just continue to finish out and dry out. Really want these beers to finish really nice and dry.
Yeah,
not a lot of residual sweetness in the finish for these.
I think you've achieved that.
Stellar beer.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And this came in one of these bottles here? Yeah. 750s that you guys put on the shelf?
Yeah, the 750s, for the most part, we're selling those out through our own retail locations. These are a lot of our small batches. So these what we're drinking here today are really probably less than 15 barrels, 15-barrel batches.
Wow.
Brewers barrels. But then what we're having in the market is more 500 mil format. We do have a couple of 750 mils, our cherry and our peach.
Okay.
But most of what you guys may see out in this area would be 500 mil bottles.
Got it.
And also on draft.
Well, thanks for sharing the small batch stuff with us. All right, I've got Brian from Tell City, Indiana on the phone. He's got a question about your opinion of Indiana University expanding into the restaurant and bar scene, which you might have to give us a little background on if you know anything about it. But, hey, Brian, you there?
Yeah, I am. How's it going?
It's going well. Thanks for calling in, man.
Thank you. So I know that, recently Yogi's, that establishment, which is a bar that's been around for I don't know how long. It was there when I was a student, which was from 99 to 2003, and it just recently closed in July. So I was kind of wondering their take on, the university's there, and obviously that's their huge customer base, but at the same time, is that kind of viewed as the nature of doing business in a college town, or is that sort of met with some hesitation because they're expanding and another business goes down and they lose some taps and all that kind of stuff.
So what do you mean, just so I know, by expanding? The university itself is opening bars and restaurants?
No. they purchased the land where the bar was located, and then I believe intend to repurpose that for buildings or whatever else.
So they're essentially, you're just saying their expansion is taking up commercial retail property around the university.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Got it. Guys have any opinion on that?
So we don't know a lot about that. At least I don't. But I know that it wasn't like a hostile takeover or anything. So the owners of Yogi's they agreed to sell it, and don't know a lot of the details, so don't necessarily want to comment on it and say the wrong thing. But we were friends with people at Yogi's, and we did several events over there, and it was always a great place to hang out, and sad to see it go.
Right. The local community college here offered me $75 to move out of our space, and I was actually ready to go, but my partners didn't agree.
Also offered us an intern.
An intern and $75, which is what sold it for me.
And I still haven't seen an intern.
Yeah.
They're not interested in the property. They just want you to not be doing it.
They
just wanted me out.
Well, I think they said, we'll give you $75, and in turn, you leave.
Right.
And then Doc heard intern and got divorced.
Where is she?
Brian, thank you for the call. I appreciate it very much. If anybody else wants to call in, ask these guys some questions. It's 888-401-BEER, 888-401-BEER, and Bevo will take your call if she's paying attention. You can also hit the chat room on our website and send questions that way. All right, what's next in our glass?
Next is the Sour Reserve. So this is a blend of some of our favorite barrels. We have 1, 2, and 3-year-old stuff in here. And I'm going to hand this off to Adam because this is kind of his baby here.
Okay.
Here he comes. Adam does. He heads up our quality department on both the sour and the clean side, and he does our blending for us.
Got it. Sour. This beer tastes familiar to me, and that's either because it's just a world-class beer, or I might have had it before at GABF or something. It's a wonderful sour.
Could have been. This is our eighth vintage of this, so it's been around a little while.
Tell us about the beer.
I guess there's not a lot to add, although, I mean, we're constantly sort of sampling what we've got in our cellar and looking for the best barrels and identifying those. And, when the time comes for making a new blend each year, we go through and we sort of start identifying which attributes we like from each of those barrels and sort of thinking about how to add layers of complexity in there.
And what fruit's in this beer?
Nothing at all. It's just the basis.
A lot of apricot flavor going on, just citrus in general. So I really just assumed you put apricots in there.
Yeah, we get a lot of pear and peach character, in addition to lemon and that sort of thing. Some grapefruit that just comes out of the basis itself.
Okay. But this is a blend of more than one vintage? Correct.
Yeah. So, we're sort of always holding on to a little bit, up to about 3 years, and so, it's a majority a little bit younger, but we're adding the older vintages in order to add some deeper, richer, just more interesting flavors in there.
Got it.
How much of this do you release a year?
Oh, I think this year the blend was 8 wine barrels, so I forgot the exact volume of the...
Warren will tell you in about 2 nanoseconds.
Yeah.
Whenever you're ready, I'll tell you. Roughly 16 barrels.
There you go. The aroma is exactly what I'm looking for in a sour beer. And when I smell a sour beer, that's exactly what I want to happen.
We're looking for a blend of sort of the fruity notes that you mentioned, and also that funky character that you get from the long aging. And
there is, but it's not. And I want to know that there's a bunch of funk there, but I don't want to pucker already when I'm just checking out the aroma of a beer, and that can happen very quickly. Like you could just go, "Oh shit, is that going to be?"
You can have funk and depth, but it doesn't need to be tart and acidic.
Yeah,
and I think that these are riding that line. And giving you some complexity, without stripping an animal,
exactly, and just burning your nose, any of those things. And I'm not even. There are wonderful sours that have an aroma I don't love, like this one, that are not burning or anything like that. But this one, I'm telling you, just sets me up right away. I know that I'm going to like that beer.
Well, one thing we've been able to control a lot better since we got into the new facility is most of our tartness is now just a lactic acid kind of a thing.
I see.
Been able to pull back the acetic, and that mainly has to do with I think exposure to oxygen. We use a lot more foeder beer, but the surface area is less, so you're getting less oxygen exchange than you would from a barrel, so we develop less acetic character, and that's really that sharpness that really hits your glands, you smell it. So most of our beers are very lactic forward and very clean tartness, and this one, because we've got up to 3-year-old beer in it, usually from barrels, not straight from the foeder, then it's got a little more of that funk, it's got a little more of that acid complexity, but it's Adam's job to make sure it's not too much.
And the acid's not really right up front where... Oh, wow. Sorry, I drank that kind of stuff.
It's certainly there later. It almost the amount of acid in here almost cleans your palate for you.
Yeah. It's bright.
Yeah, it kind of rounds it nicely. And,
sure.
And
when I was building this particular blend out, I was kind of identifying barrels that sort of had those elements, either beginning, middle, or end acidity, and making sure we got some of those in there so that it was a sort of start to finish nice character, but not overwhelming in any one aspect.
Sure.
Was the base beer for this the same as the beer we just had right before?
Correct, yeah. Basis is what we call it. It's it's that Belgian, sour blonde.
Mm-hmm. So it was just a no fruit and then yeast or bacteria-driven fermentation that did all this.
Correct.
And, of course, a blend.
Yeah, it would have started out in a foeder, and then usually, we're pulling off the foeders for some of the... more high volume beers we're doing out of that program, and then what's left behind, we typically move into the barrels and age for longer.
Okay, and then you use that to blend with a foeder for your next vintage, basically.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can kind of use it for anything. If we want to add just a little bit more complexity or deeper, richer character to any of these beers, we lean on those barrels.
Got it.
I noticed that this beer is darker in color than the first one. When you age the same beer 3 years, is there some oxidation and hence darkening of color?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're using the wood because it's porous and it allows that microoxidation, and so we certainly see the longer that these things sit in there and develop, that they get that sort of copper hue to it that the younger stuff doesn't have.
Got it.
How long do you guys use your barrels? Do you retire them, or just your barrels?
Sure. So, we're trying to maintain them for as long as possible. So, basically until they won't hold liquid anymore. So, we've got some guys that are pretty good at sort of keeping them tight, and the whole program's set up so that we're never really they're never sitting empty. So those staves never have time to dry out. As soon as we get done with something, we're generally brewing.
Any of them get like too funky?
It's happened.
Yeah.
We see less of that now that we've opened up the new facility. We've just got everything sort of a lot more under control at this point.
Got it. So you're not really looking for a lot of wood or even wine flavor anymore from these barrels. You're looking for them to withhold some of the yeast and the bugs that you want them to have, and then they're just a storage vessel that has that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
And like you're talking about the microoxidation and that little bit of oomph with them. Yeah.
What's your process of blending, a beer like this? And are there other people involved, or do you just sit there with your 5 glasses and 100 barrels and figure that shit out?
No, I couldn't do it all myself. So, I've got... We've
Not
got
with that attitude.
Right.
We've got an awesome team. It's my job to make sure that everybody is staying up on their sensory training. And so we're constantly doing all flavor training, positive flavor training, all of that, so that people can speak the same language and we can know how to really assess these beers correctly. And so
assess your own palate too. I mean, you've got to know where you stand and how strong your palate is or how weak it is. And you need to know who's got a good palate and who doesn't.
Yeah, and that's a big part of that program is identifying who's able to taste different things and who we should trust on the team.
Right.
Oh, really?
Have you had any people that I'm just thinking of like a baseball player who's like they're your badass this season, but they've really fallen off. Yeah. Like if you had to kick anybody off the team because their palate just stopped working, is that
vote them off the island?
Yeah, like listen, you were great last season, but we're sending you down to spring training, down to minors.
Well, what we do see is like some people are really in tune with certain off flavors more so than maybe the general public would be, and so maybe they're not always the best person to take a sample to if you suspect something's there because, they might pick up on something.
Might overstate it, too.
Exactly,
yeah. Okay.
exactly. And
they might say something you don't want to hear.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, shut up and go back to work.
Yeah. Well, again, as long as you know they're hypersensitive to a flavor, then you just deal with that. You got other people that are like, got it all in check, and you run it by them as well.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the power of the panels.
Yeah.
Are there any instruments used really to evaluate or do this? Or it seems like sour beer is almost 100% sensory.
So what we do use a lot is a combination of pH and titratable acidity. So that gets us a little bit closer to sort of the strength of the acids in each. So when we're building out a particular brand, we're sort of targeting a certain acidity level.
Okay.
And that's what we use. So, you're essentially just you're neutralizing the acids with a base up to a certain point, and then there's a little bit of arithmetic used to figure out what that total or titratable acidity value is.
Can you give me kind of a basic explanation of titratable acidity?
Titratable.
There we
Is that
go.
also called total acidity?
Yeah, total acidity, depending on which method you're using. But yeah, it's a really simple wet chemistry method. You're adding in sodium hydroxide into a certain measured amount of the beer, and then you've got a pH meter in it. You're looking for it to get to a certain point.
Okay.
And then based on how much of the sodium hydroxide you used, you run that through a simple calculation, and that gives you the total acidity number.
So you're taking those two numbers, the pH, and then your target titratable acidity, and that's what you're going for. And you might blend it. It might be too high, so you have to add something with a lower acidity to get it to where you want.
Right.
Okay.
And like you said, that's sort of just playing against then the sensory part of it. So
yeah,
obviously the sensory is the most important part, but the acidity really comes into question when you're talking about like drinkability in these things.
And will you adjust those targets, or do you guys pretty much have a standard acidity you're looking for, or is that just based on the beer?
Oh, I'd say if we get a lot of feedback or decide as a team that this certain beer is maybe a little bit too much, we might bring it back.
Okay.
There's also another element here where we're using so much whole fruit, and when you bring in whole fruit, that's going to change year to year, especially when you're getting it from small producers. When a big part of this program is to try to support our local farmers in the region. So we're using a lot of locally sourced or Midwestern sourced fruits. And any given year, those are going to come in with different sugar contents and different acidity. And so we're trying to match a base beer with those fruits with what we think the acidity level is going to be so that we don't overwhelm anything.
Got it.
For instance, like blackberries or raspberries, kiwis are going to be really acidic fruits. And so we're going to use a little bit lower acidity whenever we're putting those on beer in order to not make an overwhelming finished product.
Got it. And then are these reconditioned in the bottle?
Yeah, the 750s are.
They are. Okay. So they go in flat, essentially, no carbonation.
Correct.
And do you have to add yeast back for that?
Yeah. So, we're using a dry yeast, actually, and I think you guys spoke to Matt Bachman about he helped us out with a bottle carbonation issue we were having with one of our beers that was particularly really high in acidity and alcohol strength. But it's a pretty straightforward process. We have some equations we use for sugar and yeast additions. And
so you do have to add sugar as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Makes sense. By then, they're very dry. It's probably like Brettanomyces might eat something left in it, but that's about it.
There's nothing left for Saccharomyces.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. And then I know you guys are using a Y yeast strain. Do you know there's got to be some Brettanomyces in that too, not just lacto and pedio?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. There's I believe the lambic blend's got 7 or 8 different species in it.
Got it.
When you guys are growing it up, do you have trouble with the lacto and pedio? It's easy to grow up the other ones, but not so much those.
Sure.
Guys.
I think we're doing pretty good with it. We've even done some kettle souring sort of on the other side of the program and understand how those organisms work as well. So
okay.
That we do for most of our beers, not the sour reserve, but for most of them, they're now pasteurized, actually. So the single microorganism in the bottle that's doing the work is going to be, it's called CBC1 is the yeast that we use. And so we pasteurize because we want to, we've done some tasting of some older bottles as the years have gone by, and we found that especially for the fruited lambic-style beers, they change in a negative way for us. So there's something different, and we prefer it to be as we put it in the bottle for as long as it can be that way. So most of our products are now pasteurized except for a couple. The Sour Reserve, we do want to. It's kind of our take on a goose, and we want it to be we want it to evolve in the bottle. But for most of that stuff, especially the fruited stuff, we're trying to kind of freeze it where it's at and keep it there.
You got it where you want it.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
We're unashamed of the pasteurization. We'll go. That's sometimes like a contentious thing, but we think that's a great.
No, that's in the ale. If you're making an ale or something like that, that's a taboo. But you're just trying to freeze the beer.
Right.
It has it has a real purpose, especially with beers that are so living like these, right? Get it where you want it, and then don't let it fuck that up.
Cutting sulfates to grapes or something. It's like you're stopping.
There's another element to that too. That's sort of like a responsibility that we feel. We never did draft sours before, but we started doing that when we've built up this program with the wood shop, and we didn't want to be responsible for infecting people's draft lines out there with all these organisms. So we made the decision to pasteurize everything that goes out draft, so that we're not the guys out there.
Not the one. Somebody might be, but it's not you.
That's interesting. I don't think anyone's ever talked to us about that. I never thought about. Of course, we've thought about beer lines and the flavor that could be imparted in them, but I guess I never really thought about the yeast. It could be there.
You guys ever have the argument? Like, no, it's not us?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, we started doing that before we ever sent anything out. So,
you did? Okay.
It never got to that point. But certainly, like, Pediococcus or some of the others can get inside the plastic and wreak havoc.
So that's fully gone when it goes into the bottle, and then it's just a standard Saccharomyces, probably something clean like a California ale type of yeast after that.
It's called CBC1. It's a fermentous product, and Lallemand, yeah.
Okay.
So, and it's specifically designed for re-fermentation.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, it's actually got a reduced genome, from what I understand. So
does Warren.
Yeah, interesting.
It sounds smart,
but it has less ability to ferment complex sugars. So we're adding dextrose in at just the level we want to get the exact level of carbonation we want.
Wow!
And then that way we don't have to worry about it over attenuating inside the bottle and creating any sort of
taking out the flavors from
exactly.
It's like a set and forget it.
Exactly.
Wow, that's cool.
Now, at that point, then, is there a reason that you wouldn't just force carbonate it before going into bottling?
Well, part of it is just the high level of carbonation that we're going for in the bottles themselves. So where it's 3.5 to 4 in some cases, so very volumes of CO2. So it's very high, and it's something that it's very hard to work with logistically unless you do it inside the bottle.
That makes sense. Okay.
And so you must have a temperature control facility that at least you're doing the bottle conditioning in. Is the whole barrel aging facility temperature controlled?
Yeah, that was a big change for us when we built out the wood shop. Before we had very little temperature control and we saw a lot of fluctuation. But in the current facility, we can maintain things really well and maintain the right sort of humidity level, and definitely seen improvement.
Still so fascinating to me how simple of a thing and how it seems to be the most important thing between that and oxygen, the most important thing all the time. And we talk, home brewers, we still talk about it with and brewers, and it's obvious, right? Like all of your ales and your lagers, you would never think about not having them temp controlled. But for so long, I think here, or at least in the beginning, so many brewers, you couldn't, I guess, refrigerate everything, you temp control everything, but now everybody realizes how much that makes a difference. Rare Barrel choosing their city based on temperature control, the minimal fluctuations in the weather in Berkeley, and their building's ability to maintain that, so that they didn't have to pay for temperature control equipment.
Cheap bucks,
cheap or smart. That's the
True.
thing. That's the thing I've always wondered about Jamil. I haven't decided yet if he's cheap or smart, because all the things he does are so efficient that way.
Could be both.
That he's cheap and smart.
Right.
They could go hand in hand.
Right.
All right, I got to get us to just a quick break. Now, we've got some more beer to try, including one in our glass that I already tried. It's just awesome. What beer is that we're going to talk about when we come back?
That's the raspberry.
That's really nice beer.
All right.
I like that a lot. Before we go, speaking of all this yeast, did you know that White Labs has added 16 new strains to the vault for homebrewers? You can go to whitelabs.com/thevault and place a pre-order for one of the strains. And once it hits 150 orders, you'll get the strain shipped right to your door. But there's more. You can also purchase specialty strains straight from the vault at homebrew shops. 2 different pre-selected strains will be available at retail locations every 2 months. So this way, you don't have to wait for those pre-orders to hit. So just check your local homebrew retailer and pick up the strains. And go to whitelabs.com/thevault and check out all the different things that you can purchase as a homebrewer. They got some good stuff there. All right, when we come back, more beer we're going to taste from the guys at Upland. We got a lot of different sour beers to try, so hang in there. It's The Session. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Brewcasters. The Brewcasters on the Brewing Network.
Your support of the Brewing Network means everything to us. We couldn't produce shows without you. And we love giving you something extra for that support, like Brew Your Own magazine. You already know it's a great brewing magazine full of recipes, equipment how-tos, discussions of beer styles, and brewing techniques. Whether you're new to brewing and just starting out or you're an old pro, you'll always learn something from the articles in Brew Your Own. Plus, they're amazing special issues like plans for building a Brutus 10 system, 250 classic clone recipes, and a homebrewer's answer book. Brew Your Own magazine and BYO.com are awesome resources for any brewer, whether for yourself or as a gift. When you subscribe or resubscribe from the Brewing Network homepage, you directly support programs like this. Get a great magazine and support the Brewing Network. Subscribe to Brew Your Own right from thebrewingnetwork.com. Do you know the 3 most important rules in brewing? Sanitation, sanitation, and sanitation. And no one does it better than 5-Star Chemicals. 5-Star knows sanitation. You can only sanitize clean equipment. And 5-Star knows how to clean, too. For craft brewers and home brewers, 5-Star has what you need to keep your fermenters, serving tanks, kegs, and draft lines sparkling and free of any beer-spoiling bacteria. PBW, caustic, acid cleaners, Star Sand, SaniClean, lubricants and defoamers, pH stabilizers, and more. 5-Star Chemicals has cleaning supplies, safety supplies, heat exchangers, pumps, hoses, and valves. And 5-Star is proud to offer eco-friendly products that exceed customer expectations. If you have a cleaning problem, you need the 5-Star solution. Visit 5starchemicals.com or call 800-782-7019. 800-782-7019 and get the 5-Star treatment today. Are you looking for a simple brewing system that's great for all grain brewing, but everything on the market seems to be full of compromises? Blickman Engineering has the answer. The Blickman Brew Easy All Grain Brewing System. The Brew Easy is a complete system with easy upgrades and a beautiful compact design, perfect for any size brewing location. At its core, the Brew Easy is built on 2 gorgeous Blickman Boilermaker brew kettles, a high-temperature March pump, and either a top-tier gas burner or the new Boil Coil electric heater. The Brew Easy adapter lid allows the pots to stack on top of each other, forming an efficient, strong, and compact brewing setup that comes in 5, 10, and 20-gallon batch sizes. Upgrade your Brew Easy system with full automated control by adding a Blickman Tower of Power temp controller and make moving around easy with the Blickman Kettle Cart. The Brew Easy is modular. If you already own a Boilermaker kettle, you can build your Brew Easy by purchasing just the modules you need. The new Brew Easy all-grain brewing system. See it today at BlickmanEngineering.com and brew with Blickman quality on your new Brew Easy. If you work in retail sales, the restaurant industry, or are a new craft beer enthusiast, or you know someone who is, you have got to check out Beer 101. Beer 101 is an online course created for anyone wanting a quick introduction to the vast world of craft beer. Beer 101 covers the history of beer, brewing ingredients and processes, vital stats like ABV, SRM, IBU, and gravity, styles, tasting, glassware, and pairing beer with food. The Beer 101 course is offered by the Brewing
Brewers Association at craftbeer.com. Also home to the truly awesome Beer Style Finder, a visual guide to every beer style. Quickly play with color, bitterness, and alcohol content to interactively explore the entire world of beer styles with a gorgeously designed interface to your favorite beverage. The new Beer 101 course and new Beer Style Finder are only available at craftbeer.com. Craftbeer.com, celebrating the best of American beer.
Hi, this is Wayne Wumbles from Cigar City Brewing, and you're listening to the session on the Brewing Network.
Welcome back to the show. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We got the guys from Upland Brewing here on the program. And let's see where you can go. Uplandbeer.com if you want to check it out. Uplandbeer.com. You can find out about all their locations and where you can find the beer. So do that. Learn about these guys. You're going to want to taste this beer, I promise. And then also, hey, iDip. We've been talking about the iDip here on the show for a while.
That's right.
Great product. The Smart Brew Water Testing Kit incorporates a revolutionary photometer system, which is the first and only one on the market with its own app. You can use it for home or commercial use, and it takes great water to make great beer. You know that. The only meter on the market that runs water tests with no math needed on your part. The iDip pairs via Bluetooth and updates your water results instantly to your own personal water profile. The app's really the brain of the system that allows limitless possibilities, including lab accuracy, free upgrades, test customization. Email the results to the rest of your brewers, or post to your Facebook page and let your nerdy beer friends know about things.
Nerds!
In your homebrew club and everything else. So it tests for things like total alkalinity, chloride, calcium hardness, pH, sulfate, and more. Great for making sour beers like we're talking about today, of course, and only 4 milliliters of water needed for each test. So also, there's a little Brewing Network special going on right now. Podcast listeners, just enter code TBN10 at checkout and save $10 on either the standard or advanced Smart Brew Testing Kit. Order now and make this futuristic technology part of your brewing process over at smartbrewkit.com. Go check it out. All right, like I said, we're hanging out with Pete, Matt, and Adam from Upland Brewing Company, and we've got some more beer of theirs to taste in our glass. Now, the beer I mentioned just before the break, what was that one again? This
the raspberry.
Which now I was looking at your page, and there are just a ton of different sour beers listed there. If you go look up beer, where you see all kinds of different fruit that you guys have used. You mentioned that you try to source locally and help the farmers in the region. Indiana, of course, being an enormous farming state, right? Probably the largest domestic product that Indiana produces is agriculture?
Mostly corn and soybeans, but you can find some fruit in there, too, if you look hard enough.
Yeah, man, I've driven through Indiana before, and, a lot of corn. Corn everywhere. So that's interesting. You got headphone... Oh, you got just headphone pulled out of there. There you go. Now you can hear yourself again. Which may or may not be a good thing. I don't know. That's up to you. All right, well, tell us about this beer in our glass.
Yeah, so this is our raspberry. We've been making this for a number of years. It's traditionally used fruit. So this we're actually adding whole raspberries. For most of our fruits, though, before we add them to the barrel, we're actually going to freeze them, thaw them, allow them to kind of macerate, kind of let the cell walls break down a little bit before we add it to the beer.
Okay.
We'll add it into a wine barrel through the bung. And again, this one, fruiting rates probably north of around 3 pounds per barrel, 3.5 pounds per barrel. I'm sorry, pounds per gallon of raspberries for this. So our goal in this one is really to just really showcase the fruit. It's like drinking a raspberry.
Yeah.
It's really fruit forward. Finish again. 3 months of fermentation, re-fermentation, kind of lets it completely dry out. And just really nice, beautiful fruit forward, finishes dry, and not in this particular beer. The malt, the hops. It's not about any of that stuff. It's really about the fruit. And a lot of the beers that we name, we'll name them just the single fruit: raspberry, guava, cherry, peach. That's just a very simple way for us to to name the beer. It's way easier to name beers that way, to be honest. It's But for some of our others, where we will add a fruit and maybe some other spice or something else, we'll have a more fanciful name. So,
got it.
So
it seems obvious, right? It seems like a simple way to do this. People know exactly what they're getting.
Right. So and we've been doing that for a long time, of naming them just the single fruit. So that's all we have here. It's just all raspberry. And again, it's one of the fruits that we've been using for a long time, and we'll continue to be making this one.
It seems like a fruit-forward beer that you have no choice but to make it a fruit showcase beer. It has so much. It's such a strong character. It would seem, if not impossible, but pointless to mute it, right? And the raspberry really does come through. Obviously, it comes with its own tartness, its own sourness in some ways too. So I'm wondering if you have to sort of tone down then the sour part of your beer, with blend it out or something with a beer like this, so that it's not just overly puckering.
Yeah, that's kind of what Adam was talking about earlier. So the selection of the base beer that we're going to age this fruit on, we are looking at that, making sure that the base beer itself isn't highly acidic, because we know we're going to get some of that contribution from this particular fruit.
Yeah.
But we don't actually blend back in any other base beer. We will transfer it out of that barrel right into a tank to package. So we're not doing any post fruiting kind of blending afterwards on this particular beer.
Got it.
Now, I doubt there's a raspberry farm in Bloomington. So how do you it's locally sourced?
Yeah, we've over the years, there is a local farmer that does do raspberries, and sometimes we keep.
How does you harvest those?
It's all by hand.
I was thinking hand-picked straw, yeah.
Hand-picked, but it just depends on the year. Like this year, we unfortunately we couldn't get them from. They didn't have a big enough field for us to do it.
So you brought it in frozen.
Yeah, we brought them in through another supplier.
But they were fresh and you froze.
Yes, we bring them in fresh. Yep.
Now, Tasty, I know you're from this area, but I'm curious. Why did you? I wonder why you'd think it's a fruit they wouldn't have. Is it a labor force that you think doesn't exist for this?
The whole agriculture is based on equipment that you need to plant it and harvest it.
Got it.
Like apple orchard or peach orchard, it's kind of a whole different thing.
I understand. Okay.
We have a lot of hand labor here to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. California's different that way.
Machinery.
At 3.5 pounds per barrel, what's your actual beer yield when you're pulling this beer out of a wine barrel?
1 barrel.
Yeah, it's a good question. So what we had done traditionally, some of our beers were using fruiting tanks, and we're putting it, we got a sight glass on there, and we're putting the fruit in, and we're putting the beer on top of it. But for this one, we're still in the barrel, right? And
yeah. So over the years, yield is something that we've learned a little bit about. We'll use a rack and cane similar to like a bulldog, but one year we kind of figured out a way to attach basically a screen around that bulldog, and it really greatly improved our yield. So if out of a 60-gallon wine barrel.
Sure.
We're probably pulling out 45, 50 gallons.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
this screen exists inside the barrel?
So it's outside the bulldog, so basically outside that tube. So it was as actually
screen condom.
I'm sorry?
Yes. The screen condom.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like the one I use at home.
Exactly like that.
Yeah. Punch holes in your condoms? Candy probably punches
holes. She does, yeah. She's hoping.
Better airflow.
Yeah. Beardy's
it breathes better.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got a guy that works for us. His name's Bender. He's really great with welding, and he rigged something else up for us to use that. And that was one step that we put in place several years ago that really helped with the transfers and some of the yield.
Oh, okay.
Now, and I would ask this of any fruit that you use, but you mentioned specifically that this is one that you'll freeze and then thaw and use. Are you? Is one of the things you're looking to do is to kill off the natural microbials that might be on this fruit, or do you want to have that in the beer?
No, I mean it's because it's a mild kill step, but at the same time we do want some of that fresh fruit, some of the other microflora that's living on the skins. The grapes is one that we go straight into the barrels, and we talked about Matt Bachman earlier, and one of the experiments one of the things that we're studying is we're pulling from our fooders, pulling from our barrels, individual barrels that we've been using in the program for a number of years. And some of the barrels we found, for barrels that we actually put maybe a couple of different types of fruit in there, the microbiota there is so different. There's lots of great things going on there. So yeah, we definitely want some of what's going on in the skins, kind of getting into the wood, keeping close eye and control on that as well. But yeah, that is a part of it, is just getting all that local microflora into our program. And we've been using fruits for 10 years now, so we've just got a lot of different things going on.
So the freezing of a fruit like this won't eliminate that. They are able to bounce back afterward and still be present, you think?
Some.
Yeah, some of them certainly go into a dormancy, are able to sporulate and sort of survive that process.
Okay. Yeah, those things are they're just difficult to get rid of, which is a good thing, apparently. But yeah, that's some hardy stuff that you can put through that kind of abuse and then have it repropagate itself.
Some things like living.
Interesting.
Justin.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll have to talk to them. Talk to the local.
The local wild yeast.
Have you done any beers that you've tried to do 100% spontaneous local fermentation?
Yeah, so I'd say maybe less than 10% of our cellar is 100% spontaneous.
Really?
Yeah, we've done some projects over the years where we'll go throughout Bloomington and set out. We did this maybe started 5 years ago. Set out collectors. So we found 4 different locations throughout Bloomington, and we'll set out maybe a dozen or so collectors in each area. Guys would go out, stick them in between 2 trees or underneath a bush or whatever. With like a cheesecloth on the top to make sure nothing gets in there. And then we'll go through a process as a team and evaluate maybe 40 of these different samples, narrow that down to, maybe 8 or a dozen, try to scale them up a little bit into carboys, and then from there just continue to whittle down some of the best stuff that we found throughout Bloomington. So that's one process we've used over the years to try to get some more spontaneous microflora in our cellar. And then just last year was our first kind of stab at a cool ship process. So, so that's in its infancy stages right now, where it's all completely spontaneous. But really, the collectors has been going well. Now we've got several barrels that have been inoculated through that, and they're really putting out some great stuff. So we've done some really small batches of that through our own pubs. And released them that way. And
you had a cool ship built for the brewery, I assume.
Yeah, actually, we repurposed some other tanks that were really kind of there's the dish bottom. They're kind of long, narrow, and they worked out pretty well for us. So.
Got it. Stainless.
Yeah.
Stainless. Yeah. Is there temperature controlled involved with the cool ship process with you guys?
We don't have the tanks that we have don't have any sort of temperature control there now.
Got it. So give me an example of how that process would take place. Do you take wort straight from the kettle and go into a cool ship?
Yeah, that's what we did last year. We basically knocked out right into the tanks. We set up we actually have 2 smaller tanks, cool ships that we set, one inside the original brew house, kind of toward outside, and then we set a second one up in the wood shop. So we tried to kind of inoculate it 2 separate areas. And then we kept them separate as well when we transferred them to barrels. So we're still, kind of evaluating those, tasting them separately to kind of see how they develop over time. And that's something that's, again, that kind of in the works. We're not kind of ready to release that yet.
Right. So by name, a cool ship actually was designed to help cool wort, and of course then the Belgians discovered the amazing things that would happen from local yeast and bacteria. So similarly, you guys are just sort of letting the wort cool down overnight in these things. Do you inoculate right away when the wort is hot? I guess you're running it through a heat transfer, but in other words, are you waiting 24 hours before you put something in, or just letting all that stuff jump in as it cools down overnight?
Yeah, we're actually not adding anything.
Nothing at all.
Yeah,
okay.
We're just letting the air kind of cool and the air inoculate it.
And how long will it sit open like that? Is that a day?
Overnight.
Just overnight.
Yeah,
okay.
So we brew first thing in the morning, kind of toward the end of the day. We're knocking out, and then we'll kind of keep an eye on it throughout the night.
Yeah.
And waiting for a time of year when it's cooler out. At least the recommendation from, I know Allagash, I think, was on one of the sour hours talking about it, and the Cantillon guys. If it's not going to get below 40 degrees at night, or maybe stay under 40 degrees, can't remember off the top of my head, but they won't do it. And so we tried to follow that advice and do it. I think was it December, November, or what? It was November.
Yeah, there's a seasonality, right, to the coolant. Right.
Is that because it stays too long at the wrong temperature if it's not cold enough?
I think it more has to do with what's more active. I think there's more bacteria active when it's warmer outside, especially in our area. Right. It's humid. There's a lot of.
You want it to be at that bacterial happy stage.
Right.
Long.
Yeah,
and I think that was part of the problem with Cantillon's production, if I remember correctly, was that the. That's right. We read a news story about it that they're blaming global warming for their lack of production because it's not cool and something with the temperature. The season isn't lasting as long or something like that.
That seems
they're blaming climate change.
Seems ridiculous.
Have you guys done any experiments in the difference between fall and spring? Because you'd essentially get.
We've only done one cool ship project.
So one.
So
okay.
one single night we've done this. So.
Oh, okay.
We're in its infancy.
Oh, okay.
Lazy.
I think kind of moving forward, we're going to start to trial doing cool ship in the fall and then the collection in the spring. So we're going to kind of do two different processes going forward. So.
Nice. It amazes me how much can happen that quickly. If I was more of a germaphobe, it would freak me the fuck out that in your 24-hour period, you're getting everything you need to provide fermentation.
You're drinking bugs.
And And not only that it's actually happening so quickly that if the temperature wasn't right, things could go wrong. It's really an enormous amount of shit in the air is what's happening.
You're breathing bugs right now.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I have to not think about it.
Bugs are in you currently.
Yeah.
In your lungs, bro. Can you feel them in your lungs?
Yeah. No.
Just moving around?
Oh. Yeah.
That's why he smokes. To kill the bug in his lungs.
Or get him high and happy. Either whatever.
Too many bugs, smoke some cigarettes.
They leave me alone. Yeah, I really am still
stuck in the tar.
After all this time, fascinated by that happening, the ability for it just to happen naturally.
Spontaneous fermentation, there wouldn't have been beer,
if without
Pasteur figured out how to do it.
Right, you're right. Yeah, it'd be an even less happy species.
No, it's all spontaneous. It's all the BC, they were drinking wine with spontaneous fermentation.
Yeah, and not washing their hands.
And they were chewing their grain in their beer.
Don't even get into that with me. Please don't tell me you guys do that shit with the
chicha? The
chicha
corn? No thanks.
See, and you're even more likely to with all the corn available to you.
Right.
You guys
That's why God invented mills, dude. There's come on.
I would have stopped this interview immediately.
Get out.
Side note, though, have you guys done? You must have done a beer with local corn, right? As an adjunct. I mean, how could you not do that?
Well, so we have a pre-prohibition pilsner. It's an old brand that this place called Terre Haute Brewing Company used to brew.
Okay.
They first brewed it around 1904, and so pre-prohibition pilsner. It was. There were Germans that owned the brewery at the time. They were trying to recreate a German pilsner, and all they had was 6-row to work with, which has a lot of protein in it. So they cut it with corn, and then use up to 30 or 40% corn locally. And so we tried to recreate that product. We actually bought that brand. It's called Champagne Velvet. Mm-hmm. We bought that brand, and that's our pilsner. It's a pre-prohibition pilsner, and it's got about 30% corn, but we get it from Brice, so it's as local as we can get from a larger maltster that's making flaked corn on a large scale that we could use.
Got it.
From Wisconsin. I'm not sure if the corn itself is from Wisconsin, but Brice is our supplier for that.
So that kind of says to me that the corn in Indiana is so allocated for other things. Breweries would be such a blip on the radar, they just can't be bothered.
Yeah, most of the corn in Indiana is actually either popcorn or sweet corn.
Interesting. Okay. Got it. All right. We got another beer in our glass here. I've already tasted it. I'm a fan.
Well, you're advanced. You're the guy who read ahead in class.
I'm just going to say now, even before we get through all the beers, I know you guys are expanding a bit your sour beer program and where it's available here in California. That's happening. I'm going to tell people that these are as world-class a sour beer as you will find on the shelf. So definitely go to, what is it, Upland Beer, I think I had before, uplandbeer.com. Yeah. Find out where these are available and purchase them. I think you can probably age them. You can share them right away. These are really wonderful beers, guys. You're killing it. You're killing it. So
they're getting distribution here through Wine Warehouse, so we'll be in our area we'll be able to get it.
Got it.
Yes.
We've got 2 on tap right here at the Hop Grenade, by the way, so those will probably be here for a couple days. You can come on, check us out here. All right, so tell us about this beer.
Spice.
So we guess what do we have here? Guava.
Yes.
So single fruit, all guava. The base beer for this was a blend of 20% older beer, north of 12 months, probably about 15-month-old beer, and then 80% younger foeder beer.
Okay.
So that beer is probably 4 to 5 months old at the time we made that blend. Again, kind of similar process we talked about with raspberry. Aged didn't age as long, not the 3 full months, a little bit over a month and a half, almost 2 months on the fruit.
Just because it was going to impart so much more if you had gone the full amount of time? Or?
No, actually, in this particular one, so we a little over 90% of what we do is all whole fruits. This was one of our kind of experiments with some of the pureed fruits. So this is from Oregon fruit. The pink guava, and it's really we had done another beer. I'm not going to remember what it was. Where we actually did a kettle sour. Where we used a little bit of passion fruit and these really tropical flavors. To a tart. So it was a passion fruit mango. We really loved that character, and then the guava. It was just kind of an experiment, really small batch experiment for us. We've really not done a whole lot with purees, honestly. Up to this point, we've done maybe 1 or 2 beers with purees. We aged on there for up to 2 months, and the rate on this one is probably a little bit less than what we'd use in the whole fruits. Probably more around 2 pounds per gallon or so. But it really came out really nice and balanced. There's a nice level of acidity, really tropical guava character right out front, and we loved how this one turned out.
It's very good.
It's delicious. It is a very unique flavor, a very unique blend
that works well souring. And I was going to say, at the risk of downplaying your skill level, which is obvious, I feel like sour brewers should be messing with some guava. It's kind of the perfect fruit, in my opinion, for souring. It just has it's so complementary.
Well, and Oregon fruit is coming out with some great products.
Oh no, everything.
And they're aseptic as well, so you can use them on the clean side.
Okay.
Just the way that they treat their fruit is really nice. We've never gotten anything that we didn't like from Oregon fruit.
It's great because when you have, in my opinion, we have a good guava. It's not just the overripe kind of juicy or bruised one-dimensional, overly sweet guava. There's some lightness to it. There's some tannin to it. There's some kind of, a little bit of brightness, I guess. And that's what this has. It has like the centerpiece, I guess the meat like closer to the seed, I guess. Okay. I don't know, it kind of has like more fibrous to me, and it's not as overly sweet. And that's what this has. I don't know, I'm imagining like cutting a guava because I'm super into tropical fruits. I don't know you knew this about me, but I'm an expert at it.
Goes to Hawaii once.
Right. Well, but he spent hours in tiki rooms.
That's true, yeah.
Thank you, Warren.
Yeah.
Appreciate
You're
that.
welcome.
All right. Anyway, it is very, it's not just a one-dimensional, here's guava extract.
It's incredibly fresh fruit tasting in that sense, which is interesting to find out. Not that, all of your beers had that fresh taste, but to find out that the one that wasn't the fresh fruit, that you used, I think you guys must be right about Oregon fruits. Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Yeah, that they're just killing it with that. It is. I'm not actually. I don't really drink liquor. I'm not a big cocktail fan, but this is. I can see mixologists absolutely loving your beer to use in cocktails too, because it would add all of the fruit flavor they need. And they could just mess with the rest of it.
Well, certain fruits are like cheating, just like certain hops, citra hops and mosaic hops. You make a good beer, you don't mess it up.
Yeah.
It's going to taste good. You put certain fruits in a beer, passion fruit, guava, they're going to be...
That's kind of why I was recommending, like, if you want to start out with sour beer, start out with some guava. Forget the hard stuff. Everyone's like, I'm going to make a sour beer with coffee, my first run.
Or even, I'd like to see people start with this instead of go to cherry.
Yeah.
Or whatever, like, just let's do something...
Yeah. It's also more unique,
creative.
too, right?
I agree. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Well, I really like this beer. This must be a big seller for you guys, I would imagine. People
Not yet.
like
We've
it.
only done it on a very small scale.
Is that right?
We'll be making more of this, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, ramp that shit up. This is good. This is a nice beer. All right, and then it looks like we got one more in our glass to dabble in. What's that?
What is going on right now?
So this is a beer called Darken.
This is
kind of our take on an old Bruin. It's a higher gravity. It's about 9%. We use so many spices. Let's see. Coriander, star anise, black pepper, grains of paradise, and ginger.
Okay, but that's not
amounts
typical Oud Bruin, is it? Recipe?
Not.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. That's interesting. You just mentioned a lot of things, and I would not call this a spicy beer. You could have left all that out, and I'd say, oh, yeah, this is a great Oud Bruin.
Yeah, so where we add the spices, it's just spice blend that we'll add into the boil. So it's very, very early in the process. If you tasted this beer in the barrels at about 3 or 4 months, you'd probably say something different. It's still very, very forward with the spices. This beer will age, I think this was closer to like 16, 17 months in the barrels.
Okay.
So that spice character really kind of melds and mellows out over time, and it's just a really nice complementary character. For me, some of that licorice kind of character comes through a little bit more prominent.
Yep.
Still a lot of nice chocolate from the base malts, and the sourness. Basically, the level of acidity is really pretty balanced as well. So yeah, this one we've made for a number of years, and really minor tweaks to this as we've made it, and it's actually had a different name. We did change the name the last couple of years. We used to call it Dantalian. So that's the same kind of base recipe that this beer started out as.
Dantalian?
Dantalian.
What is that?
Some sort of a demon, right? Wasn't it? This is one of our
a
former
demon?
head
It's a
brewers
demon.
named
It's a
it.
demon.
And often it was pronounced dandelion.
I could see that, yeah.
It was,
Got it.
We didn't like that.
Use the cooler version of it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, another thing I like about this beer is the guava comes through a lot. I'm just kidding. I'm still on the guava.
Yeah,
beer,
you still have it that way.
I still taste that guava.
Now, you mentioned a really balanced acidity. I noticed a little more acidity than in the others, which would be typical for a Nude Brune or Flanders Red. And this is what I was getting at when I was asking earlier if your targets for the titratable acidity might be higher in certain beers. And I wonder if this style or this particular beer, you did that.
Certainly. This is one we have to wait on.
Okay.
The acidity sort of builds very slowly, and it's ready when it's ready. So
got it.
We have a target, and when we've got enough barrels that when we blend everything together, we can get there. Then it's pretty much ready to go.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Are you guys looking for both pH and titratable acidity, or do you value one more than the other?
Really, the titratable acidity is much more important. pH doesn't really give you a good idea of what of how it's going to be perceived, because your different acids sort of react differently under a pH meter.
Okay.
I almost get like stick with me here.
We're used to that.
Shit. Mint chocolate chip ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
But like the green, when the ice cream is green, not when the ice cream is white, because the green mint chocolate chip is far superior than the white mint chocolate chip.
The fake mint chocolate chip?
Yeah, right.
They have to dye it so that way you see the mint?
If it's called it's mint green colored, of course it's going to taste more minty than the white stuff, right?
Right.
I don't know, just a little bit. I don't know.
I can
in
give
a very, very positive way, mind you.
No, I see. Yeah, you don't want to say it's minty.
No,
because it's not.
Because I don't get mint, but it's like after you eat the ice cream, and it's just the
kind of refreshing effervescence that's left over. I can give you a little bit of mint chocolate.
I think acidity with the chocolate. I definitely think the roasted malts and chocolate malts definitely come through, and you get a chocolate flavor.
Yeah.
Are you getting that? I'm wondering where that's at.
Oh no! I would
chocolate. You don't get chocolate.
You don't get chocolate.
I get a little bit, but I'm expecting more of the Oud Brew and like a little more of a malty.
Yeah, but it's spice, so you're not going to get that.
Yeah, the spices I think cover up.
The spices are really light though, aren't they? The spices
I
way
think
in the
so.
background.
They're there.
Yeah.
They're there
I
enough,
definitely
I think, to
get the
throw
chocolate
off a
too.
profile.
Yeah.
I get the earthy Mexican chocolate.
So what is you talked
Drink
about the
this
basic
first.
Belgian sour.
That's really good.
Base. What's the base for this beer? What's the grain?
Yeah, so Eli Trinkle, our sour brewer, sent me this malt bill, and I gotta pull it up. I know there is
Eli
some
Trinkle
chocolate
is
in
not
it.
a real person.
Well,
That is a
see,
character.
No, I
I
remember the first time I was.
Tell him to ask for Eli Trinkle, and then he just gets beat up in the
I
bathroom.
remember I was talking to my girlfriend on the phone. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Hanging out with the Trinkles." It was Eli and his wife, and she's like, "Are they elves?"
Yeah, exactly. They're characters in an Indiana Christmas story.
But there is
sitting on a mushroom.
Ebenezer Scrooge, played by Eli Trinkle.
I hope he's listening right now.
Yeah.
They're going to make
Eli Trinkle, go-kart champion of the Midwest.
Corn shucker and go-kart mechanic.
Yeah.
His name's harder to spell than Shimky.
Lumberjack extraordinaire, Eli Trinkle, appearing live.
I'm sorry, Eli.
He can play the washboard and the jug at the same time.
Yeah.
He farts in the jug.
Yeah.
Eli Trinkle.
Spoon player champion of the greater Midwest area, Eli Trinkle.
1968 through 1972. 1970, he was admitted.
Yeah.
He was playing on forks back then.
Yeah.
Eli, if you haven't already started playing a drinking game with this, whenever your name is said, take a swig.
That's right.
So, Tasty, to answer your question, we got some Pale and Pills for a base. We got some Munich from some Tinlevbahn Munich from Brees, some Castle Aromatic, some Castle Chocolate, some Wireman Dark Munich, some Wireman Pale Wheat, and a little bit of rye.
All sent in by Guinness Book of World Records unicycle champion Eli Trickle,
an amateur auctioneer.
Eli Trinkle,
rodeo clown, and head of the National American Association of Rodeo Clowns.
Right,
Captain.
We like you,
Eli Trinkle,
already,
Esquire.
Well, all your beers have great head retention. You look around the room, and every one of these beers has good foam still on the edge. Great.
Yeah. Every one of them is making me fart. Like I'm holding in my farts
Thank
like
you
crazy.
for that.
I'm glad
What
I
is
changed my
up?
chair from there to over here tonight.
Which is interesting because of the pasteurization. You'd think there'd maybe be less than a sour beer with tons of yeast in your glass. You know.
Yeah.
Well, the yeast is in there. The CBC1, that guy's
That's still in there.
That's probably the
we ordered
almost
the
40.
extra party
Like the
CBC1. So.
And it's JP anyway, so.
I'm pretty gassy, but look, I would rather have a bunch of gas than like acid reflux from drinking sour beers.
Which we are not getting
I
at all.
prefer your acid reflux.
Yeah. Right. the rest
I'm
of
holding
us
it
are.
in. It's fine. It's my colon that's getting all blown out of shape.
Yeah, nobody around you
Again.
even cares.
That's actually a really good point. I'm coming off of a hard weekend on my stomach, and even without that, some sour beers could very quickly give you acid reflux.
Yeah,
and
you can
these
go
are
too
not,
far with them.
I guess maybe just a testament to the way you guys control that acidity.
Yeah, well, we host a sour beer festival every year, and we've been trying to get it sponsored by Tums.
Yes.
But they won't have anything to do with
Really?
with alcohol. So yeah,
Oh, that's
we're
interesting.
trying to have little kiosks. You know?
What did Rolade say?
Right.
to you?
Yeah.
They'll be next. They'll be next.
I know how to
That's
spell
interesting. They maybe don't want to be seen as like a cure-all. Like you can drink all you want as long as you have Tums. It's probably some legal problem.
I prefer to believe that.
Hey, we're here to help, and just leave it at that.
You know what? I guarantee you that the CVS brand of antacid tablets,
Right.
CVS will jump all over that.
Yeah, but there's no marketing value in that. Like
No,
CVS acid tablets brings you
Acid tablets.
Eli Trinkle's Merry Christmas,
Antacid.
Indiana.
Antacid.
Well, you might get another retail outlet out of it.
Yeah. Jay's still at Burning Man.
CVS.
Acid tablets.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Love acid tablets.
That's the name of your kid?
Yes.
Yeah.
Gender non-specific.
Right.
Hey, acid tablets, come here.
I would kind of call these beers like European acidic beers or
Okay.
sour beers.
Yeah.
Americans kind of crank it up to 11, and especially here in California, some sour beers get enamel peeling.
They are,
and these are a lot more mellow.
I think some American sour producers are even ramping that acidity up, or it seems like it's changing over the years. Like maybe that's just the climate of maybe that's the sour beer equivalent of the cloudy IPA.
We're kind of going the opposite way. Like we used to be a little more aggressive, and part of that was a product of everything being in barrels and some of it being a little older, and it would develop a little more acetic character.
Mm-hmm.
We're actually kind of known for having very aggressive sour beers, but that's not our preference in general in the brewery.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that if you get too much tartness, it actually takes away from the flavor.
Absolutely.
So
Sure.
we
Yeah.
started to dial it back. And
I appreciate
our
that,
blends
yeah.
are milder.
And I'm not sure that I agree in that trend that JP says. I certainly think that many American sour beers are more acidic, like you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that is more based on experience or lack thereof, rather than attempting to make them more sour.
You don't think that they have
acidic, rather.
You don't think that they've kind of shifted in general?
I don't.
I can
so.
think of two
My
off the top of my
opinion is
head.
that it's just that more people are making them.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're getting more acidic sour beers, but not necessarily because that's how they were intended. It's as people get into it, they just haven't figured, or their palate actually likes that more,
Right.
which I think changes over time.
Yeah, and I'm talking about like sour producers that have themselves shifted over years, not just like the new ones are coming out, then it's more and more aggressive.
I also think they're trying to push it's a new genre with the American sours.
Yeah.
They're kind of trying to branch away from the European ones,
European.
and
Okay.
push into that the city level are just trying to be different.
Yeah. Well, they shouldn't do that.
They're trying to, trying to make that.
Can we send them to Upland as the American sour example instead, and hope that people go down that path? Yeah,
it's the same as the IBU rate.
Some success at that.
Just if bitter's good, then more bitter's better.
Yeah.
If sour's good, then let's
more. And
let's
what it used to
make
be.
it more sour.
It used to be measure your dick with hops, and now it's measure your dick with acidity. We're trying to come away from that.
My dick's 6 hops long.
Because you're
I've done that already.
Right. Yeah.
Small 6 hop pellets, maybe.
Chinook pellets. They're long. Oh, yeah, Medusa. I have 8 dicks.
Yeah, you look at his dick, you turn to stone. Like, oh, God!
Hey, at least something's hard.
That's gross.
I'm looking at the label for the Tasty IPA, and he's clearly...
I got 3 hops at least.
Oh, at least. Yeah. You can actually count them. I mean, that one's...
I had to add an extra hop just for deniability.
Yeah, just can you go one more, please?
It's not mine.
No, can we talk hops just real quick? Because we haven't asked you that. Are you going traditional, making sure you use aged hops in the base beer?
Yeah, for basis, that is all aged hops. Really low IBU, like less than our measured IBUs are like 9 IBUs for that particular beer.
What variety are they, or does that even matter?
We're just looking for really low alpha, so
Okay.
it's not really that important for us. Just making sure it's low alpha. We're using like German Spalt right now.
Okay,
so it's really low.
Do you? I know you're able to purchase aged hops. Do you guys do it that way, or do you age them yourselves?
No, we have aged. We stage it ourselves. We're not buying them aged.
And what do you do for that? Is you literally just put the sacks up in the attic for a little while and forget about it?
Yeah. We've got some that we have in inventory. We have some that are kind of chilling in our boiler room, kind of oxidizing there a little bit.
Got it.
We don't age them; we chill them.
Do you even care about them? Like, do you check them first and go, "Oh shit, we waited too long on these," or you really can't go wrong there?
No. I mean, at this point, we're using, like I said, really low alpha.
Yeah.
We're not seeing really cheesy, rancid kind of things like that. We're really you are trying to control it.
Are they pellets or whole hops?
Yeah, we're using pellets.
Okay.
We're using pellets.
Got it.
You use so few, even if it is a little like old.
Yeah, and they're staying in the bags as well for the most part.
Oh, they're in the bags.
We're not opening up and oxidizing them intentionally.
Oh, just letting them age down for a long time.
Yes. Yeah. So for our cool ship that we've done, we actually are kind of storing those and aging those. But for our standard production, we're adding maybe 6 or 7 pounds of hops. And
Oh wow.
Yeah. It's pretty.
Is there even a measurable IBU at that point?
Yeah, we do get. I mean, like I said, we have a spectrophotometer we're measuring. It's around 8 or 9 IBU.
Okay, got it. Well, you guys have done good work here. These are really excellent beers.
Thank you.
And the lager, too, Vienna. So what a great start. And then moving into all these. I wouldn't say this. I don't have to give, overshare. I would just keep this information out. I did not have a bad beer tonight. I did not have a less than stellar beer tonight. You guys really killed it.
I agree.
Thanks so much.
I agree with that. Even that spiced fucking beer.
Yeah.
It's really good. like if you would have described that beforehand, I would be like, I am not going to be into this.
Yeah.
But
I was
mint
into
ice
it.
cream, 3 months in the barrel.
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
They just throw a cone in there.
With green ice cream.
It has to be the green.
Yes.
Nobody fucking gets that except you now.
Mm-hmm. I can't even see color.
No, but you can feel it.
Yeah.
So, any places you want to mention? Any new markets you've gone into? I know California with some good beers now. Any place else?
Yeah, so we started shipping out to a little bit of beer out to Boston, Philly, New York.
Okay.
A little bit in North Carolina, Tennessee, Maine.
Okay.
And Colorado next.
Yeah,
Colorado next?
This week, I think we're starting to have some beer in Colorado.
Well, I guess we'll have some Upland at Hop Grenade Fort Collins here soon then.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds
closer.
Great. Yeah, closer for you guys. You going out to the Great American Beer Festival?
We will have a crew out there for that.
I assume you entered sour beer into that category?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, I wish you luck there.
Thank you very much.
I wanted to ask you about something on your website real quick.
It might be inappropriate.
Oh, this reminds me.
Is there a dick pic there or something?
No.
Yeah. Is there a beer name
a problem
that
of some
won't be
sort?
mentioned?
No, there's not a problem. Something that we've talked about very recently on the show when we've discussed mergers and buyouts and shit.
Yes.
was that the Brewers Association was working on some sort of a stamp or label or logo to show like a real craft brewery. And I haven't heard anything about that since that. I don't remember who our last interview was who was talking about that. Right. But I see something like that on the bottom of your website that looks like it's from the Brewers Association that says Brewers Association Independent, like certified craft. That's a new thing that they did go through with to give you guys a stamp like that?
Yeah, it's really great. There's a process you have to go online, kind of submit the forms for it, and we're able to use that in a lot of our marketing materials and things like that. So, yeah, on our website, some of our labels that we're going to continue to develop, we'll make sure that that's on there.
I like it. It's the first follow-up I'm hearing since one of our guests mentioned that it was being worked on, so it's really cool to see. Do you remember, like, the parameters? Like, is there allowed to be, the certain percentage of ownership?
I believe it's up to 25%.
So just like the rest of their guidelines.
We're completely independently owned. We have a small group of investors, but it's something that's very important internally for the brewery employees that we do stay independent. Yeah.
So do you know if every member of the Brewers Association falls under this stamp guidelines, or is it more strict than even being a member, I wonder? I could find this out myself. I just thought you guys might know.
Yeah, I really shouldn't speak, but I don't know all the details there, honestly. But I know that there is a process that you have to go through to prove kind of your independence.
Right.
So, yeah.
So that, to me, means it's probably even more strict than just being a member of the Brewers Association, which is very cool. That was the delineation that we were talking about on the show, that it wanted to be like just that other level of actually being independent. So it's cool to see it on there. And it's pretty recent, right? You got in the last year or so that
well, they just put out that logo just in the past
5 months.
3 months. Yeah, 5 months.
Got it. Okay. All right, well, congratulations, not selling out, except for your bank accounts. I'm sorry for your bank accounts for not selling out, but for your street cred, you're doing well.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you for sharing the beer. I appreciate it very much. I think we'll keep drinking it tonight, and we got some on tap here at the Hop Grenade. If you want to come try it, I'll keep drinking that too. And really, good work, guys. I would say that so much of this is based on the quality control and blending that the two of you are virtually irrelevant. And that Adam back there is really the superstar in this room.
I have to say, Eli does a great job brewing, so
Eli,
thank you,
Eli.
Little shout out.
Great brewer. And elf. Yeah. He can make swizzle sticks and beer like you've never seen.
He can shear a goat and make some beer.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see him at Christmas time.
That's right. With his herd of pygmy goats.
Fainting goats.
I love that you're running with that. It warms my heart to think of what's happening to Eli right now.
Running with this is better than coming up with content. So
And we have so few running jokes or good content that this could go on for weeks.
Right.
So you might want to tune in next week and see what adventure we have you on next.
Yeah. I think the whole entire show next week will just be Eli Trinkle.
Yeah.
Can you make a little cartoon like you had a little taste?
I think we need
Eli
to.
Trinkle?
Yeah. Next week, follow Eli Trinkle as he burrows through the Himalayas.
Eli Trinkle's Flea Circus and Car Wash.
The Himalayan people or the mountains?
The Himalayas,
the people.
not the Himalayas.
Have you seen the women in the Himalayas?
Burrowing through.
Nice.
Can we send the BN jet to get it?
So far, you guys have been dead on.
This describes
these are 100% true. Like you're nailing it.
Yeah. A leather maker and mouse trainer, Eli Trinkle.
Tractor pulling record holder, Eli Trinkle.
Yeah.
Scrotal tractor pulling.
Wow.
Okay, that ruined it.
His resume just became stellar.
Eli's like, hey, wait a second.
He's like, I'm done with this.
I haven't done that in years.
My colon's going to pop. I got to go fart, man. Let's go.
All right.
Can we take a little break or a long break?
Not before.
We'll take a real tiny one. Actually, no, we'll go straight to break right now. When we come back, we've got, what's his name from What's Its Face?
Marshall.
Yeah, Eli Trinkle from Brewlosophy.
Marshall from Brewlosophy. We're going to do a triangle test and have some beer. In fact, if you guys want to stick around for that, we welcome you to do so. It's always a good time.
It makes Justin think too much, but
Bless you. Oh, my God. Are you okay, sweetheart?
It's starting.
All right.
It's starting. I've only got a few hours left.
Oh, right. We're down to 4. Less than 4.
Starts with a sniffle. Next thing you
countdown.
know,
The countdown begins.
God bless.
You want an Eli Trinkle signature casket?
Yeah. Hang in there. It's the session. We'll be right back with Brewlosophy.
You're listening to the Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
Since 1979, Williams Brewing has offered the finest equipment and freshest ingredients and the best customer service in the business. Check out their brand new patent-pending mash and boil 110-volt electric mashing and boiling unit. This compact all-stainless unit lets you mash, sparge, and boil just about anywhere that has a 110-volt plug. Double-wall construction adds to efficiency and safety, and a precise thermostat keeps temperatures where you want them. Unlike insulated buckets and converted coolers, multiple temperature rest mashing is easy to do, all for under $300. They also feature the Mark II work pump, a magnetic drive high-temperature pump that does the work of pumps that cost twice as much, as well as exclusive Brewer's Edge regulators and quality Keg King kegs and disconnects. Check them out today at williamsbrewing.com to brews their vast selection. With over 20 years of experience making world-class craft beer and more than 100 gold medals in international competitions, Moylan's Brewing Company is not just a pretty face in craft beer. Just ask Brendan Moylan.
What do we got here? The beer of the hour. Moylan's, gotta love that big M. It's like a sign of awesomeness. Woo-hoo! It's got an extra kick to it. Let's pour this bad boy. Oh, yeah. Oh, Moylan's. At the end of the night when the kids are finally in bed, the wife's in bed, nobody's bothering your ass anymore, that's Moylan's time. Moylan's is for you. Yeah. It's to help you out. Yeah. It helps me out.
What?
Well, because it's freaking awesome. Northern California brewed. It's brewed with love.
With love?
Oh, yeah. Tremendous. And it's always best where?
Moylan's.
You gotta try it. On tap at Moylan's in Novato. They're friggin' awesome. Not only because I own the brewery, because I love the beer.
Cheers!
Boom.
Kilt Lifter Scotch Ale takes big beers to a whole new level with rich malt balanced perfectly with delicate hops, and now comes in 4-pack tall boy cans so you can take the party on the go. Or come to the brewery, take a tour, and try any of Moylan's fresh creations right from the source. Check them out at moylans.com.
BN Army, have you heard the latest at Hop Tech? Since Hop Tech has doubled in size after a huge expansion, Jade and Roberto can stock even more of the best quality homebrewing supplies and equipment. Over 60 kick-ass varieties of hops and malts, monster truckloads of quality brewer's yeast, including White Labs, Y-yeast, and multiple dry yeasts. They even have all grain systems from Grainfathers and Ruby Street Brew Systems, thanks to Jade, the brand new all-grain brewer. And don't forget about their 10% discount to all BN Army members. Jade and Roberto are waiting for you and all of your brewing questions over at hoptech.com. Hoptech, totally not sucking since 1983.
Hey guys, what'll it be?
I'm not sure. What do you recommend?
A lot of people seem to like the Hefeweizen.
Is that a German Hefeweizen or more of an American-style wheat beer?
I'm not sure, but I can give you a taste.
Okay, great.
The Cicerone Certification Program certifies and educates beer professionals in order to elevate the beer experience for consumers. Unfortunately, not every bar is staffed with certified beer servers who can guide their customers through a beer list.
Here you go, guys. Let me know what you think of the Hefeweizen.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely more of an American meat. But I can hardly tell because this beer just smells like sour butter. I wonder how long it's been since they cleaned the draft line.
Yeah, and look at the bubbles on the side of the glass. It's filthy.
Somebody should tell these guys about the Cicerone program.
For sure. How about we head somewhere else for another beer?
Your server should give beer the same respect you do. Request quality. The Cicerone Certification Program offers 4 levels of beer certification, in-person classes, and course books for beer professionals. Check them out at cicerone.org. The Cicerone Certification Program. We know beer.
Hey, my brewing brothers and sisters. This is Jamel Zainashev, and I want to tell you about Heretic Evil Twin. You might be familiar with my homebrew recipe, which uses massive late hopping to create a balance between the malty sweet and the hoppy bitter, along with an outrageous malt and hop character. I wanted a beer with the same bold hop and malt character, so we played around with the homebrew recipe until we were able to make a great commercial version too. We've created a beer rich in malt character, full of caramel, toast, biscuit, and an ever so subtle roast note. On top of that, we piled in an insane amount of Citra and Columbus hops at the end of the boil, as well as in dry hopping. This damn-the-cost approach to hopping gives Heretic's Evil Twin a great blast of citrus and tropical fruit that can't be matched by any other hop. The result is a bold, malty, hoppy, but easy-drinking beer. This is our top seller, our flagship beer, and I couldn't be prouder of it. Cheers.
To find Heretic beers near you, click on Find Some at hereticbrewing.com.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Thanks to the guys from Upland Brewing Company for coming in and hanging out. Some of them have stayed to do our Brewlosophy segment with us. We appreciate that. I wanted to let you know about a new book that's out. One of Tasty's favorite styles, Session Beers, is now been published by Brewers Publications. Low-alcohol session beers have taken the craft beer movement by storm. More than half of the fastest-growing brands are beers with less than 5% ABV. If you're interested in honing your session beer brewing skills, there's a brand new book from Brewers Publications that'll be a great addition to your brewing library. Session Beers, Brewing for Flavor and Balance. It's written by World Beer Cup and Great American Beer Festival award-winning brewer Jennifer Talley. Session Beers explores the history behind some of the world's greatest session beers, past and present. Learn how stouts, sour ales, experimental IPAs, and more of your favorite styles can be brewed to be less than 5% without sacrificing taste or balance. Session Beers includes popular recipes for pro brewers and home brewers, along with personal stories from some of the best-known brewmasters in America. Learn more and order a copy of Session Beers at brewerspublications.com. Go check it out. All right, we should have Marshall on the line with us so that we can do our triangle test. Marshall, you there?
I am here. Yes, thanks for having me back on, guys.
Welcome back to the show. I'm always disappointed that you don't come and hang out with us, but I understand that you're as lazy as JP.
Well, you know, and JP, I hear, is only going to get lazier with this child that's coming, because that's why I don't come in. I've got 3 kids, and I've got school, and I got to pick them up and all that kind of stuff.
It makes sense. I know you're far away. I just like to give you shit about it because I like you, Marshall. I like hanging out with you.
He's only in Fresno, right?
Yeah.
Fresh, yes.
Yeah, that's a trek on a Monday night, I guess, when you got kids.
Yeah, what would we do with him here? He'd just be in the way.
Any excuse to get out of Fresno.
Well, you can see that douchey mustache he has now.
Right.
Hey, listen.
Wait.
JP, you haven't seen me in a while. The mustache is gone.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, it's moved down to my neck.
Are you still wearing a tank top?
A little awkward, but
thank God.
Well, and I got to hang out with Marshall at the Firestone Fest this year. I think that's where it was, right, Marshall?
No. HomebrewCon was the last time we saw each other.
Oh, it was HomebrewCon. Yeah, you're right. And he's far less douchey than he sounds.
I'll give you that.
On the radio.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I'll give you that.
Yeah, I mean, I
wow,
think
that's a stretch.
It's kind of a compliment, I guess.
Backhanded.
Which Marshall did you meet?
The one who's doing
Marshall.
his own podcast, not on the Brewing Network. That's the Marshall I met.
Oh, there's other podcasts?
Yeah.
He has a podcast? Really? Wow.
He does. Did not, consult me, asked to be on the network, participate in our enormous revenue-sharing opportunities.
Yeah, we were actually name change coming up. It's going to be the BR apostrophe N network.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, somebody just gave me the idea. I thought it was a good one.
It is good. You'll be hearing from John at the Beer Law Center.
I bet I will. Yeah.
Oh, before the night is out.
Yeah.
Check out the Brewlosophy podcast over at brewlosophy.com and all the other experiments that are done so that you can, learn to brew better beer through Marshall's
through another podcast.
Bullshit. Yeah.
Well, we don't do it anymore.
All right, Marshall, what are we doing today?
Well, so you guys have a beer that I made almost 2 months ago now. It's an experiment that I'm just started collecting data on, which might give you a hint as to what the variable is. I'm looking at the data, and I see that you guys have already you guys are working on it now. The data's coming in, yeah?
Yeah. Not everybody has a voting vessel in front of them. Did y'all do it on your phones?
Yeah.
You did it, Doc did it too?
Oh, yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, I see Doc. I don't see Eli Treacle.
Eli Trinkle is busy carving garden gnomes while unicycling through Bloomington.
Right.
He could not triple task.
He's at home fast asleep waiting for the bomb that's going to drop him on him tomorrow when he goes in.
Good. Yeah, I bet.
The last real peaceful day of his life.
So everybody that walks into your brewery is going to be asking for him, right?
Yeah. Well, he's also the last real American.
That's true.
Eli Trinkle.
That's true.
That's at least his new book that's coming out.
The last real American. He hand wrote every single page.
He's getting the key to the city to Bloomington tomorrow.
Well, he keyed the lock for the city. He knows what it is already.
Oh, right. He made it himself.
All right. So you should have, other than that, I guess you probably don't have our guests' votes, or were you guys given the link as well?
Nope, we are sitting here without beer. Thank you.
We didn't give them.
We didn't have enough beer.
Wow. So I invited you to hang out under the pretense that you'd have something to do, and I lied.
I can tell you which glass is green and which glass is red.
Okay.
And which glass is
It's more than Warren can do.
It would be.
Oh, my God.
Bevo's.
Way to make fun of the handicap, Bevo.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Marshall, what might be interesting is just to have them vote without tasting, just based on color, and see the accuracy rate between those of us who have tasted and those of us who are just fucking drawing a straw.
Oh, he was watching our faces.
Okay,
let's do it.
Why don't we do that, guys? Adam, just pick a color. What do you think is the different beer of the three?
I'm going to say blue on this one.
Blue?
Adam's got blue. Okay.
Matt?
I'm documenting.
He's clearly wrong. It's red.
Okay.
Red.
So
got it.
We'll just see how they did without tasting.
Adam's got a great
Don't be
palate.
color biased.
Yeah.
Whatsoever. now I forget how this works. Now that you have all the results, do you tell us exactly what the beer is and what we're looking for before we find out the results?
Sure. Yeah, I can do it. Whatever order you guys want. You guys have already. So typically, what we would do is have the participant pool come out, or they'll take the test. They don't know anything about the beers.
Right.
Typically won't even know the style, though. There's some talk about that not really being, not mattering very much. But once the data's in, if they want to know about it, I'll usually pull them aside and tell them what the variable is. So you guys have already all taken the survey, so I can talk as much about it as I want to.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. So we all tasted it at the break for you listeners at
Drank
home.
the Kool-Aid.
And of course, the triangle test is designed for us to pick out the standout beer, the one of the three that is different.
That's right.
So Marshall, go ahead and tell us about the beer and what the experiment is.
All right. Well, one of the reasons I don't like to enter competitions and whatnot is because I hate the process of packaging beer. So the first question is, were they okay, or were they contaminated?
I don't think they were contaminated.
I didn't get any contamination.
Okay. So then the second thing is, these beers, don't expect them to be high quality. That makes me feel better when I tell
Why
people.
didn't you get to check that box?
Because you're a shitty brewer? Okay, fine.
Yeah. So I'll explain to you what the beer is first, and then does anybody have an idea what the variable is on this one? Anyone really confident in their guess?
No, I do not.
I was just going off of the one I hated.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I found them all to be extremely similar. That's what my palate was telling
Obviously,
me.
it's the same. Hot size the same malt and all that.
Yeah.
There's something downstream that's been done different.
Yeah,
packaging.
There's something. There's similar beers, no off flavors, no. You didn't fuck up that part.
Yeah.
If it is a packaging issue, how long has it been since they've been packaged?
JP, what was it, like 4 days ago?
Something like that, yeah. And they showed up on Saturday, and they went right in my fridge.
Yeah, I didn't get a lot of oxidation off of any of them. That wasn't any of the issues. There was something else.
I can't think of it. I can't guess the variable.
Wait, so JP brewed it?
No, JP just approved.
I would never do that to you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So no wonder all these.
He did touch the bottles, though.
I've been holding my fart in for no reason now. Fuck you guys.
I thought we talked about that.
Boom.
To me, the variable I was sensing, the only thing I picked out was actually a mouthfeel thing. I found two of them to be I don't know, I guess more watered down than the one that I chose, that it just had a little more character to it. And more, that's what I honestly, I wasn't picking anything else out other than that.
I got a similar in that it was a mouthfeel, but I found two of them a little more creamy, a little sweeter.
Okay.
Sweeter
I did the same.
Two were rounder, one was sharper.
I found two, then one was a little crisper.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
He says crisper. But it was.
But I don't know.
Sharper's good.
Doc really liked your beers, Marshall. He's really, I can
It's
tell.
a good experiment.
But I don't know, what
Well, I'll tell you what. Before you guys aren't talking about what you picked yet, so I'll hold off on that as well, and I'll give you a little bit of background on the recipe. They were both. With one exception, and it had nothing to do with ingredients. They were both the same thing. So we're looking at 86% Barca Pilsner malt. That's the Environment put out that Barca Pilsner a couple months ago, 6 months ago or so. And I didn't realize it at first, but what I get from this beer is almost like what somebody else described as like a grape skin. Kind of a, it's not tart, but it kind of has that kind of.
It's just tanniny.
I will agree with that.
But it's not. But it's not. Yeah, I agree. But it's that grape skin thing. And it's at first when I first started using, I bought a ton of this malt because I thought it was going to be amazing. And when I first started using it, I was picking it up and I thought that I thought I had picked up some sort of an infection. And then every beer I would use this malt in, I was getting that same character. Excuse me. And
have another one, Marshall.
I know.
Right. Don't drink the red one.
I get a sort of a slickness associated with an infected beer. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
I didn't either, but I did when he mentions the kind of grape note, the skin note, and maybe that's even what I ended up picking out as a mouthfeel thing. The one I chose, I guess, just had more of that. Is what I was picking up.
Yeah, this is a so I pick it up I bought 2 sacks each of the Pilsner, the Vienna, and the Munich, and in all of those I've gotten the same character. So we'll just say that I'm glad to be almost done with this malt because I've made other beers without this malt and I'm not getting that character. So
okay.
And I thought that might come through as some sort of a contamination and whatnot. So anyways, one of the beers, I'll give it away now, and then you guys can tell each other what each of you picked. One of the beers had both beers had a single hop addition. One of them had it at first wort hop, and it was a 60-minute boil. So first 80 grams of a 2.4 alpha acid middle fruit. To bring it up to 31 IBU, and the other one had it added at 60 minutes, so not first wort hop. So if you guys are on Facebook at all or anything like that, you notice that Stan Hieronymus put out an article, about a month and a half ago or so, talking about first wort hops and how they may not actually make much of a difference. We tested this out a few years ago, and I thought I'd hit it up again, and it just happened to be the same month that Stan put that article out, so I thought it was pretty interesting. But so this is a first wort hop versus a typical 60-minute edition.
So just the one hop edition, that's it.
And that's it, yeah. And I get, you lose a lot of the complexity, I think, the hop complexity or when you do that. But I wanted to really focus just on that one variable.
Mm-hmm. And so did you use the same weight of hops, first wort versus 60-minute, or how do you calculate IBUs?
No, that's good. Yeah. So I used the same weight of hops. They both got 80 grams. And the first wort hop, I believe, was predicted. The IBU is predicted to be something like, I'm looking it up now, 30.6. And I'm going to open it now. And the boil edition was like 28. So not very different. I actually sent these in to Oregon Brew Labs to have them tested, and the results I'm awaiting and will be included in the article for this one.
So just for listeners learning something, what's the meaning? Why would you first wort hop something? What does that do to the beer?
Yeah, it's good. So first wort hop. Well, first off, what is a first wort hop? It's typically, I think, on the homebrew scale, and I know professional brewers who do it the same way. You're adding your initial dose of hops before you lauter, and then add that sweet wort to your mash tun or your boil kettle. So basically, those hops are sticking around in your sweet wort for a little bit longer than they would if you're adding them right at the boil. And what that's said to do is carry through some of the flavor and aromatic components of the hops into the finished beer.
And how does it do that? Is it because of those more concentrated sugar molecules, it binds to those or something? Is that what happens?
At this point, all there is out there is hypothesis.
I see.
Honestly, from a practical level, it never made sense to me how in the world having them in there for an extra half an hour at most.
Okay, cool. Thanks for that.
made a difference.
Well, extra IBUs, you're driving off all the volatiles because the wort is too hot for all the aromatics to stay behind.
Or are you?
But we're trying to look at the other things that maybe stay in.
You are.
They combine with things.
You are. It's fine.
What were the alpha acid percent on your hops going in?
It was really low, and I chose these ones intentionally so that there would be a nice big upfront addition. They were 2.4% AA.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's a lot of IBUs for that.
You think?
2.4% alpha acid?
Percent, and he's
I've
trying to
seen in
get
a long
30
time.
IBUs out of this. So it's like,
that's a lot of hops.
That's a lot of hops and a lot of like vegetative stuff rolling in.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. Like I said, it was 80 grams of hops for a 5-gallon batch.
I don't know.
We're in the U.S., Marshall.
Okay, just blew
sorry.
Justin's mind.
Yeah.
So
Welcome to America.
Remember,
so what's that, like a bucket full, or
you're,
grams.
you're talking grams, and he's old now.
Yeah, exactly. I can't learn new things.
Just about a hair under, about 2.5 ounces.
Interestingly, that doesn't clear up anything.
Okay.
Which is not Marshall's fault, clearly.
It's about this much.
Okay.
Was it a gray hair or a red hair?
Can I ask for clarification and maybe consensus on the definition of the first wort? Because if I understood you right, you're saying it goes into the mash tun.
No.
You said before lautering.
First running.
It's before you start to boil.
So it's as you're lautering.
Yes.
Okay,
So
that's what I thought.
No,
So
not
it's
lautering,
in
sparging.
Sparging.
Yeah.
Well, and lauter.
First running.
Lautering's recirculating.
the hops.
Got it.
So you take that
Doing that
sticky
wrong.
sweet liquid before it goes into the boil kettle, and then you put it on top of hops that are in your kettle.
Okay, that's what I thought it was. Okay.
Yeah.
So you add it to the sticky stuff.
Yeah, I understand. I understand.
Right.
It's in the kettle as you're running wort from the mash into the kettle.
Yeah.
Which
and
is
this is one of those
180
things.
degrees versus boiling is like 212.
Yeah, got it.
Right. And this is one of those, I started first wort hopping, what was it, like 5 or 6 years ago. I'd read about it on some forum. And, the big thing was that you were going to get aromatic carry through, that you were going to, that the beer was going to, so if you used, all of us hop with Magnum or Warrior or something like that, or bitter with Magnum or Warrior, because it's cheap and it's high alpha and you get that nice bitterness from it. But we save our more expensive aroma hops for the end of the boil because we don't want to waste those on IBU. One of the arguments about first wort hop was that you could take, your Amarillo or your Citra or whatever, and first wort hop with that and have a kind of a unique aromatic carry through from that.
Like those oils wouldn't volatilize during the boil? I mean, how are they locked in?
That's always been my. Yeah, I first wort hop because it saves me from a boil over when I add the 60-minute hop addition.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay,
Tasty, you used to do this, right? You used to talk about in some of your
I've
tales.
mash hopped, which essentially is first wort hopping.
It's even earlier.
You're transferring the oils over to the kettle. I never noticed it made any particular difference.
And he said, it's kind of
more of a ceremonial
theoretical. It's like really what kind of binds with what, and does it carry over? And
okay,
a beer I've made over and over again is Janus Brown Ale, and it calls for mash hop. And sometimes I'll forget to do it, and I added at 60. And I could never tell the difference.
Got it. So I understand that we're looking for the difference between a 60 and a first wort, but what was your hypothesis? Like, what would the difference be? That we picked up more hop aroma or flavor, Marshall?
So there are two things. Yeah, one of them would be, I think the conventional idea behind what first wort hopping is supposed to do, you would pick up more hop aroma, hop flavor, and it would be a unique character as opposed to a 15-minute edition that you would expect from Hallertau Mittelfrüh.
Okay,
that's one thing. But the other thing, I think it was Beardy who said this. You might expect the first wort hop beer to also be a little bit more bitter. And based on what Beersmith pushes out, it's like 2.5, 3 IBU difference, which I'm not sure that difference is perceptible, by the human palate. But so that those are kind of the two things, and people swear by it. I mean, there's a lot of dogma when it comes to this kind of stuff because it is, it's a traditional technique, traditional German technique, really.
Okay.
The average is 5 IBUs.
5 IBUs.
For the typical person.
To
But
taste
every
the
person,
right? Or
every
it-
person's palate's different. There are some people more sensitive, but
You're kind of
average
the
is 5
threshold.
IBUs.
Yeah.
Okay.
For you, more because you're old.
Right.
Right.
Understood. Okay. Well,
he's old now.
How do we do, Marshall?
Well, I will reveal here. JP was the first one to submit, and he chose the blue cup.
I did.
Justin, you chose the blue cup.
Yes.
Hey. Tasty chose the blue cup.
Okay.
Adam chose the blue cup.
Yeah. I told you.
That's a good palate there.
He's Upland's guy.
Wait for it. Doesn't mean across the room.
Yeah.
Well, we were all
and
making
then
out. So.
Nobody chose the green cup. Matt, Doc, and Warren all chose the red cup.
Okay.
And so it's almost that's about as even split as 5 people can get. Well, that's 6 people.
Yeah.
And the blue one was the different one. That was the.
Wow.
That's right,
There we go,
baby.
JP.
So why did I hate the red one?
My last victory.
That's right.
You go out on top.
I'm still 100%.
First time I ever got the triangle test right.
Really?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Kudos, Tasty.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the blue one. And does anybody? I mean, for those who got it right, did you think it was a shoe-in? Did you know it well, or?
No, it just had less of a malt character, a little less malt body or something. I don't know.
That's what I was picking up. Yeah.
So which is it? Is that the one that what is the blue cup? What's the difference?
Well, yeah, I was going to ask you to guess, but
well, let's guess.
Let me
guess.
I think the blue cup is the 60-minute, not the first wort.
I think the opposite.
I also think the opposite.
Right.
Yeah.
Who wins?
The JP and Justin winner chicken dinner.
There you
Yeah,
go.
dude.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, so that one was first wort hopped with 80 grams of Holler Tower Middle Fruit.
A good handful.
Grams.
A good handful, yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I mean, the beers were different, sort of slightly different, but
I mean, they were different. They were like objectively different. They were made differently. And at this point, you guys are kind of in the middle of my data collection set, so I'm not totally sure how this is going to pan out. But if you look at the fact that 2 people were wrong and 3 people were right, that's not conclusive by any means. I've done 3 blind triangles myself, and I've only gotten it right once.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and so we have we kind of have this technique that we use to blind triangle test ourselves, where we'll take 4 of our opaque cups, and then we mark the bottom of 2 with one, and then mark the bottom of the other one with the other, and then pour 2 sets of each, and then we'll just kind of sing a song or do something to distract ourselves while we're mixing them up, and then we'll pull 3 of them, and so one will always be different in that scenario. And I've only gotten 1 out of 3 right so far.
Wow. Okay.
You're a fucking riot at parties, dude.
Yeah, I don't do that when people are looking.
Yeah. He's also never invited to parties.
Right.
Well, this is Fresno. This is true. Yeah. Nothing new.
Right.
Hey, Marcia, do you think doing more and more of these triangle tests will
embarrass more people?
Help your palate become more calibrated to a finer detail?
Well, I can. I was just looking at the number that I've done myself. We've got a crew of guys who are doing these things, and I've done 56. We're pushing 160 now, something like that altogether. I think I've done 56 myself, and I don't feel. If anything, I'm more doubtful of my abilities.
Because you know how bad you are. Yeah.
Right.
I'm getting
Thanks.
it.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
true though. Well,
yeah.
and I don't even know if it's like people always get butthurt when they get it wrong. It's like I hate telling people when they got it right or they got it wrong because they take it personal. But the reality is what that signifies is that the variable doesn't make a big enough difference, or at least the difference that you thought it was going to make.
Now you run into people that get it right every time, right?
No, never. Are you kidding me?
What would be the most? What would be the best ninja palate you run into? It gets right 20% of the time.
Eli Trinkle.
I was going to say,
Eli Trinkle,
person, 100%
ninja
right.
palate extraordinaire.
He actually invented taste buds.
Yeah, and the triangle test I hear.
Right. And the test itself.
He'll hijack your taste buds.
There was this is an interesting observation that I've made, and I've never actually analyzed the data, so don't quote me on this one, but the few people who I've noticed seem to select the unique sample the quickest, if that matters. They're usually women, and they don't they're like, you get these dudes over here who've been brewing for 4 or 5 years and who, laud themselves for being such amazing tasters and whatnot. And they spend 5 minutes on a triangle test and they get it wrong. Yeah. And then I have this guy and his wife will come over and she picks him up and she's like, boom, that was easy. And she probably nails it more than I should look at. I should look at it at some point. But she gets it right, more often than her husband does.
Okay, so under the principle of the triangle test, then those who get it right would move on to do some more subjective analysis, right? Because that means they have good palates. In this case, those women don't know anything about beer.
I'm going to just step in here.
I didn't say that, Tasty.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they randomly get it right because
this
they have good
particular
palates.
pool. So I know where Tasty's going, and I think the opposite is true. Based on what Marshall said about how he doesn't get it right, it's actually showing the true subjectivity of our opinion when we're evaluating beer. We're just not very objective. And the set of people that he set, and they just happen to be women, I think in this case, that he said get it right quickly, they don't give a shit. They do not have a subjective opinion about beer. They're not spending 5 minutes analyzing the ingredients, and they're literally just picking out a thing that's different, which is far more objective than those of us who are like, I know about beer, what is the part that I'm tasting?
Yeah, because I know so much about beer flavors, I dial into the wrong thing.
Yeah,
if I don't know much about beer flavors,
right,
it's easy just to tell the difference.
So I would go farther just to say that if he took that pool of people that's doing so well with an objective opinion, just very quickly picking it out, and moved them into more taste tests, they would progressively do worse and worse because their objectivity would decline, right?
I think you're right. Well, they don't have the beer ego.
But they would develop.
I was going to say what Doc said, that the pride isn't there. Like we're a proud lot, and like brewers just I think naturally are that's why we love judging, and it's why we love our BJCP certifications and stuff like that.
Right.
We don't want to be wrong, and I'll get somebody over into my garage, doing one of these tests who's been brewing for 6 months, and they come in like the expert, and and I'm not dissing them. We've all been there, and it's that same mentality. It's that same feeling of like, I know what the fuck I'm talking about, and I'm going to nail this. And they think they get it right, and it's always that. And one of the funniest observations I've made in my 56 and in the 150 that we've done all together is almost ubiquitously there will be one beer that's liked and the other one is loathed and it could be you're comparing two of the same exact beers. If you get it wrong and we have you do that preference test, you're comparing the same exact beers.
Yeah.
Wow. Those are from the same keg, and they'll be like, oh, this one's good, but man, that one is terrible. And we get that so often.
Wow.
That's really interesting that you say that, because when we were doing the test batches for our Pilsner, the pre-Prohibition Pilsner we were talking about, we actually did a first wort trial with that. So we had, I believe, 5 different beers. Some of them were first wort hopped, and some were not. And we would take these around to bars in Terre Haute, where there are some old guys that actually had the old version of Champagne Velvet, and so we could discern virtually no difference in these beers.
Right.
Like, they were all very, very subtle. But you would get these old codgers, and they'd be like, they'd take a sip of one, and they'd be like, this is shit, and they would just pass it on. And the next one would be like, this is the best Pilsner I've ever had. This is it. You nailed it.
Right.
And we couldn't tell the difference at all.
Interesting. Well,
That's
and
amazing.
In terms of the objectivity,
beer memory there.
When I asked Adam about his tasting panel, I think he even sort of discussed this, that if somebody is like particularly sensitive to one flavor, they might not be included on the panel because they're just not as objective as you're looking for. On the other hand, if you were concerned that a beer had diacetyl and one of your team members was particularly sensitive to that, you're not looking for objectivity. You want them to come pick out that flavor and tell you if it's there.
Certainly, but you also aren't going to base your decisions solely off that one person's inclinations. So, we always get a consensus before we make any sort of decision.
Sure, and that makes sense. I'm just talking about in Marshall's experiments, he's really just looking for objectivity, and which is hard to get, especially with a bunch of fucking douchey brewers.
It's true.
Yeah.
Or brewcasters.
We all fit the bill. oftentimes, the people who come out of the woodwork when we release these things, and it's only when there's a non-significant result on something that people fully expected there to be a significant result on.
Yeah.
People will come out of the woodwork with, well, you need to be, you need to select your tasting panel. They need to be, super tasters, or they need to be. Well, what good does that do us if our point, as homebrewers who are trying to have a good time, if our point is just to show people this is what the typical craft beer drinker is able to do.
Yeah.
We're not. The last thing I want to do is go out there and provide this esoteric data that's like, we selected from 30 people, we got everyone who could taste DMS at 2 ppm or whatever it is, and hey, they found it in this beer. Well, that's boring. That's not applicable to anybody out there who's brewing.
Right.
And that's why, Marshall, we actually pay attention to your stuff, and we think that you're doing a great job, and it helps us.
Thanks, man.
It helps us to kind of. You're doing the same kind of thing that we would do internally on just a small scale. We can't necessarily run an experiment on a 30-barrel scale, so we'll do a lot of 10-gallon batches too, and we can't be more scientific than you can. So when looking through the Brewlosophy stuff, we'll at least be able to say, okay, this if you can't get a statistically relevant result on this category of things as it regards to whatever the topic might be, maybe we don't need to spend so much time on that. And spend time on some other things that could be more of a priority for us. It just helps have that little tidbit of information. Whether or not any given experiment is like perfectly executed or not, you do enough of them, and you do them at least as well as we could, and it gives us some food for thought.
No, that's really cool to hear. And one of the things I've had a few professional, much bigger scale breweries than what we're doing contact me. And my response to them is always the same. Like, the people who are coming over and doing these tests, they're your thoughtful beer drinkers. The person who's coming in off the street, they're probably less experienced than 99% of our participant pool. These are people who are nerds who see that we're posting on Facebook to come over and participate in a beer experiment, and are like, yeah, that sounds like a fun thing to do on my Saturday.
Right.
And so I have to believe that these are the folks, if they're not able to distinguish reliably, a difference between a beer that's, and I know JP's not going to like this, but a beer that's fermented at 66 degrees and they call it a pilsner versus one that's fermented at 50 degrees. Which, by the way, I will tell you that this beer was fermented to spec, 50 degrees for 2.5-3 weeks. I ramped it up for a D-rest at 58 or 60 degrees was all, so you're safe there. But that's kind of my way of looking at it as well. Is you got these, out of 30 people or whatever it is, you got 20 couldn't tell a difference, and they're kind of a nerdy, hypersensitive group. But that says something.
What strain did you use?
This is the Imperial Organic Yeast. I've really been getting into their stuff. It's their Urkel, well, they call it Urkel, but the Pilsner Urkel strain. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I do.
Yeah.
Organic yeast, Marshall? Isn't it
I know.
all? Isn't it all?
I didn't name
what
it.
What a hippie.
Okay. Let's check.
Imperial yeast. We'll call it that.
Actually, looking at the caps here, I think the G I thought was a B.
What the fuck?
What?
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
He lost me on that one.
It means he mixed them up, and so the green is actually.
It was a bad joke, and I was hoping that Marshall would freak out.
I didn't get the caps thing.
The bottle caps of the beers you poured into the glass.
Yeah.
Thank you.
God.
I'm just thinking like a listener, or like me. Either way, I didn't understand.
When you make me explain it, it's less funny.
Yeah.
What does that tell you about you, Warren?
That your jokes are shitty.
Fuck.
So I was gonna go. I got like internally angry until you told us it was a joke. So.
See, there you go. It all worked.
Now, Marshall, the second part of the survey was which one did we like the best?
Yeah.
And which one collectively did we like the best?
I got to open that page back up.
Sorry. I just find that because I think there are really two results here. Like, is there a difference? Mm-hmm. And then do we like the difference?
Or can we determine the difference? And do we like the difference?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
It was kind of subtle.
Well, I never told you guys. I told you that the blue one was actually the first wort hop.
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys knew that. Okay, so of the, of the three people who chose the blue one, the different one, all three preferred the blue one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
That's interesting.
So did Adam, by the way. He also preferred the.
Except for Adam, we didn't take his preference rating, but
What I think is interesting is that even since Doc and I picked the red one, even with Justin and JP's kind of what do you think's different, all of us were unanimous in that one was sharper or more bitter.
Yeah.
We just picked different ones.
And even tasty, is a very similar thing, talking about the maltiness of the beer.
Exactly.
Too. Yeah.
We all kind of picked the right variable.
Right.
But we
just
picked a
perceived
different
it
one.
differently.
Yeah, it's more about what your palate's sensitive to, kind of.
You see how Warren tries to crowbar himself into the winner's circle?
he does it every time.
You win.
Dude. Sorry, Mr. Perfect Record unchecked.
I have a perfect record.
Yeah,
that's
as long
right.
as no one checks it, you have a perfect record.
Marshall, check and make sure that I have a perfect record on your fucking experiment.
Next time you come back, Marshall, if you don't mind coming back with JP's stats, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
So I just for fun, because of the sharper comment, I thought it'd be interesting to look, given how low the alpha acid was of the middle fruit that I used for this beer, the difference, if I were to hop these based on Beersmith to the same IBU, predicted IBU, the difference is... So 73 grams versus 80 grams. So the 60-minute one, or the first wort hop beer, would have only received 73 to achieve the same IBU. So 7 grams is almost exactly a quarter of an ounce. So it's not really that much different.
Yeah. So that's just hardly a
quarter
variable.
of an ounce at 2.5. That's 10% by weight. That's a decent amount.
Maybe. At a low alpha,
maybe. But you're at 2.4% AA, not 2.4% amount in the beer.
Yeah, the AA
No, I thought you said it was 80 grams was 2.5 ounces.
No. Yeah, about 2.5 ounces, right.
And then you said 7 grams was a quarter of an ounce.
It's actually 2.82. I mathed it really hard. Over here.
That's weed.
About a quarter.
Yeah. So it's a 10% by weight difference.
Hang on one second. Eli Trinkle just wrote in. He says, "Shut the fuck up, Beardy."
It's not as great when he says it.
Right. He said it in another language that I don't understand.
Well, he said it while he's making a guitar. So,
okay.
Yeah. Right.
A banjo. That's what they play in Indiana.
All right. Anything else to discuss with this experiment, Marshall?
No, that's it on this one. Yeah, I'll be interested to see how the rest of the data pans out. I can't believe the three of you got it right so quickly.
Fuck you.
Yeah, I can't believe JP got it right either.
Lucky. It's only three choices.
That's relative to my performance.
He did touch all the beers.
That's true. Well, we are far superior to Marshall. We've been doing this longer.
That's true.
Indeed.
So.
We just don't write it down.
I also got the crib sheet, so it's fine.
All right, Marshall, thank you so much for another great experiment. I really enjoyed doing these with you. We learned a lot, so thanks, man.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me on, guys.
All right, keep it up over there at brewlosophy.com. Check them out. And the podcast available, I'm sure, on iTunes and other places that he wasn't too lazy to post it like me.
Yeah. He'll give you a QR code for it, though, so that's cool. Yeah, he's real hip.
Thanks, Marshall.
Later, guys.
All right. There you go. Doing something right in Frez, yes.
That's right.
Makes one of him.
Yeah. Brewing beer isn't one of them, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Twitter game?
Almost.
All right.
Oh, fuck.
First.
Craftbeer.com. If you like cooking with craft beer, you got to check out the recipes on craftbeer.com. Published by the Brewers Association, craftbeer.com offers the most comprehensive collection of craft beer-based recipes on the web. It's really something to behold. Search and sort recipes by course and beer style to find the perfect menu item. Breakfast stout French toast stuffed with bourbon cream cheese frosting, for example. Go check it out at craftbeer.com to search their craft beer cooking recipes and pairing ideas. You won't be disappointed. Good stuff over there at craftbeer.com. All right, what was our Twitter game today?
Our Twitter game was I wanted to figure out what piece of clothing the BN Army, which is our fan base, Justin, if you knew that or not,
I've heard of it.
would be. We would make vomit-proof, blood-proof, bodily fluid-proof.
Okay.
Like we need that.
Like I think we do. Well, we used to need it more, I think.
Well, some of us will need it sooner rather than later.
That's true. Kyle Larson says camo print cargo shorts.
Okay.
I think that's for Doc.
Camo print.
Mm-hmm.
Like the ones I'm wearing?
Yeah. Andrew Boozer says Coviers, which is You go to
JP's
getcovers.com. That's right. Thank
How
you
much
very
did you
much.
pay him for that?
If you're laying down and throwing up, that'd be great.
Well, I was going to say,
getcovers.com.
The things that would have to happen for you to get all of these fluids on your head. That really is a BN party, though.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think it fits. That's why I put it in
we
there.
haven't seen
You're
that?
on the ground.
Not for the plug.
We've seen that.
Paul Shank says, water vomit-proof assless chaps. You never know when there might be a boil over or vomit when JP's holding his baby and brewing. I would offer that all chaps are assless.
Correct.
Okay, so let's throw Paul out. What do you think?
Redundant.
Because you don't even know what
Yeah.
the fuck chaps are.
I'm down with that.
I don't know, whatever.
Okay, first off, you do, and
Alex B says a vomit-proof merkin, for the elegant ladies.
I like that. By the way,
70s
merkins are for men,
no,
aren't they?
No.
No?
no. That's
Is there a
That was
gender?
the vagina hair?
I think it's
a
just
fake.
No, there's a different
it's like
name
a
for
toupee
guys.
for their.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. I stand corrected.
It's when they want to,
Is there
be older
are there
for
different
you.
names for genders?
I thought there was.
I think it's just gender neutral. Artificial covering of hair for the pubic area.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
Anyway, wait,
about the
wrong
movies.
tab. Andrew, who to check? Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's the crazy who to check. 'Cause I don't know how to spell the fucking
Sure it
last
is.
name.
Could it be one of the crazy Russians?
Related to the Trinkles.
He says a bib is all that is needed.
The bib.
A bib. Yeah.
Big ass
That is
bib.
practical and accurate.
I
really.
agree, right?
Although it doesn't really cover other people's fluids landing on you, only your own.
It depends if you have projectile vomiting friends.
It'd be almost a poncho-sized bib, too.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah,
worried about
because
having a
even-
vomit-proof bib?
Even if it's from somebody else, projectile or whatever, you're usually hunching over at that point.
yeah.
Not always. There are
Sure.
exceptions to the rule. But
Have you been around my brother?
Yeah, I'm gonna. Sorry, who to check? I
My
say
brother
no
gets
thanks.
this confused look on his face.
Before he throws.
Oh, just projectile.
And then last but not least, Barley Boy says the water vomit-proof sleeveless tuxedo modeled by world-famous number 110 strongman. No.
Eli Trinkle.
Eli Trinkle, yeah.
Perfect.
How did you know that?
I mean,
I don't
because
understand
he's
the
fucking world famous.
Yeah. World-famous 110-pound
Is that today?
strongman Eli Trinkle. Okay, that's what it is.
He's going
That
to
was
have a
confusing,
horrible
but-
Tuesday, isn't he?
I'm going to take
And
out
what
the
was
number.
it?
Every
Was
Tuesday
it
from
was
here
a
on out.
sleeveless tuxedo.
Yeah. Water vomit-proof sleeveless tuxedo.
If anyone can pull that off, it's Eli Trinkle.
It's Eli Trinkle.
Well, if you're going to
Right.
look good with vomit on you, you might as well be wearing a tuxedo.
Correct. I like the use of what would be considered fashion at the Brewing Network.
That's true. That's true.
Like a sleeveless. And the incorporation of our new friend and world famous Eli Trinkle.
Eli Trinkle.
So that's my vote for our Twitter game winner
Yes.
tonight.
I agree.
Why not?
I agree. Let's do
Theme
it.
of the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Eli, send us an email.
By the
You'll
way,
get a shirt.
would you like the Wikipedia definition of a merkin?
Yes.
Please.
I don't know why, but yes.
A merkin is a pubic wig. Full stop. Merkins were originally worn by prostitutes after shaving their genitalia and are now used as decorative items, erotic devices, or in films by both men and women. The female version is usually made of fur, beaver pelts, linen, or some soft version of cloth, while the male version is usually made of loops, chains, or metal.
Okay.
What? I don't know.
Doesn't
There you
sound
go.
like a. Okay.
Okay.
That's what it is.
So everybody gets a trophy. Everybody's right on this.
Everyone's right on this.
Okay.
I'm right more than anybody, though.
Well, you have a perfect record.
Stop throwing that in my face. I do.
You hit Trump.
All right, good job. If you're looking for other things for your genitalia, don't forget
Yes.
about adamandeve.com. Adam and Eve is determined to help you spice things up in the bedroom, and that's why they're backing up that promise. So check this out, adamandeve.com, and you get 50% off just about any item when you enter coupon code BNARMY at checkout. And that's a good deal in and of itself, but now backed by popular demand and for a limited time, you'll also get the free Big O kit. And who doesn't love the Big O? Adam and Eve's Big O kit, including their exclusive Climax gel and a mini vibrator. So now you get a new way to get her off, or him off, you never know. What girl wouldn't love that? You also get your entire order sent to you for free. So take advantage of this limited time offer. Choose a new adult toy, a naughty movie, or almost anything else. When you choose that one item at 50% off, you'll get free shipping, plus the Big O kit, which includes the Climax gel and mini vibrator. You won't find this deal anywhere else. Which is probably a lie, let's be honest. But you can use offer code BNARMY, BNARMY, at checkout. That's BNARMY at adamandeve.com.
Is there a button on the page? I didn't
On
see
the
it today.
web page?
Oh, where you shop it? You went to shop. There's no
Is there a button?
There's no link.
Is there a button on the web page?
There used to be a banner. But no, there's not a direct Adam and Eve button. You got to go to adamandeve.com and use the coupon code. That's how we get the credit. So no direct link.
Good to know.
Sorry. Yeah. Was your right hand too busy to go directly there? Go to your favorites.
I was shopping for somebody else.
What did you buy?
Nothing. I couldn't find the link.
Yeah.
You never made it. You are lazy.
No, actually, I made it there.
AOL only loads one button per page.
Do you
apparently?
Yeah. Do you?
Radials.
You
only,
don't want to
so.
tell us what item you were shopping for?
No.
We don't know we don't know who he is.
Right. Eli Trinkle is a very mysterious man.
Yeah. Send a gift to Eli Trinkle.
The real nail in the coffin is that the offer code could now be Eli Trinkle.
We should change it. I should ask to change it.
Trinkle.
Don't change it before tomorrow. I can't spell Trinkle.
Catch him on Eli Trinkle's Traveling Roadshow.
Opening for the Jim Rose Circus.
Eli Trinkle's signature line of Merkins.
Yeah. And Farmer's Market.
And 4x4s.
Where you can meet Eli and hand him a dildo.
Coincidentally, we're hiring for another sour brewer. Uplandbeer.com. Just shoot us a
Nice. There we go.
All right.
Bloomington's a great part of the country. You got to move out there.
Is that where you're from, Tasty? Bloomington?
Southern Illinois, which is not so different.
Illinois, okay.
That's the same to you guys, right?
I thought he was from the
same sort of area there.
I thought it was Missouri.
Yeah, like Cincinnati or some shit.
Oh, yeah, I thought you were from Missouri.
Well, I'm from the St. Louis area, but I live
Pick a
I always
town,
lived on
Tasty.
the
Everyone's
across
from
Mississippi
one
and
town.
Illinois.
Pick a
Illinois,
state
okay.
even.
Everyone's from one town.
He was passed around as a child a whole bunch.
Unless you're Tasty. You tell Eli Trinkle he's from one town and see what happens.
Eli Trinkle can wrangle the wind and the moon and the stars. Don't tell Eli Trinkle where he's from.
Yeah.
He'll tell you.
He'll tell you.
In the form of a story.
That's right.
Like goes a little something like this.
And dance.
Yes.
An interpretive dance.
The one-man dance show, Eli Trinkle, I Am My Own Man, Who the Fuck Are You, will now be performing at the Bloomington Community Theater.
Yeah. And homeless shelter.
Soup kitchen and used car dealer.
Tonight's special is minestrone.
All right. Well, I had a lot of fun tonight with Upland Brewing Company. I want to thank you guys again for being here and sharing all the great beer.
Thanks for having us.
Yes.
That's a great company.
And bringing us Eli.
That's right. Yeah. The new superstar.
Yeah. No apologies.
Eli's the new Chechnya.
I hope he's like a total asshole and like no one likes him. and like he hates personal attention. And now
I'm sure he's about to be an asshole.
Yeah,
like
I know.
Any second.
Oh,
okay.
man.
Everybody's going to like him after this.
Yeah, I just more hope that he never passes somebody at the brewery in the halls again without somebody yelling out some random thing that he does.
Yeah,
like,
dance, Eli.
Like, oh, it's Eli Trinkle.
You know he can scare lightning.
Yeah, these are the things that make me happy. If you guys can report back if the brewery environment has changed at all due to that would make me smile.
We'll make a whole Twitter thread.
Yeah.
Gonna happen.
Excellent. All right, next week on the program, Gowan's Heirloom Ciders will be on, a California cidery.
Let's change it up.
Coming on to check us out. And then, of course, don't forget, I do want you to go to thebrewingnetwork.com and check out our events page so you can see what's happening around our Great American Beer Festival festivities. At Fort Collins Hop Grenade, you get a chance to come up there and meet us and some great breweries. There'll
be a tasty appearance, I'm thinking, too.
Okay, good.
It's going to happen.
Yeah. Tasty and I will discuss that, so I make sure we publicize it enough. Sure. But then you got the Rare Barrel coming on Wednesday. Don't forget all that stuff. Plus a live session on the 9th. And Beardy, did you figure out, are you going to be out there for that?
I will be there.
On the 9th. You're going to stay after GABF?
I will stay to guarantee no one shows up.
Perfect. Yeah. Great. All right, so check all that out and join us out there. Thanks again for all the great times in history on the Brewing Network. It's been fun.
Yes.
And
do you have taps? You should play yourself out with taps.
Right, yeah.
I don't know what that is.
T-minus 2 hours and 39 minutes.
You don't remember shit like that.
You're right.
Might be too old to be relevant. Maybe that's what's going to happen.
That's happened years ago.
Like, who's this old guy we're talking to?
It's true. It's true.
That's why he's got his new alias set up, Eli Twinkle.
Yeah. Well, we had to outsource actual homebrewing information on the show.
Yeah.
Because nobody here brews.
Which worked fantastically.
Yeah, no one here brews.
Who's driving you home anyway?
Well, nobody that anybody cares about.
That's true. That's
they took your license away.
Yeah,
So.
and I can't drive after dark, actually, is more
Well,
the
you
thing.
can't drive after all.
Really?
Yeah. I'll get someone to use my phone, my smartphone, my smart
shit.
device, and call an Uber for me.
His large
that
screen
flip phone with the big buttons.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Jitterbug.
Thanks, everybody. I appreciate you hanging out with us.
Me too.
We'll love it if I see you next week. Go ahead, JP.
Me too. Thank you very much. Thank you to our show sponsor, More Beer. You can get absolutely everything you need to make great beer at home by going to morebeer.com. Men from Upland Brewing invaded the studio, and while we may never know their real names, we do know they brought some killer beers. Check them out at uplandbeer.com. Merge your love of Disneyland with your lack of engaging podcasts and go to earsuppodcast.com as JP, Terrence, Bevo, and Taryn talk about all things Disney. Get on Twitter for some good beer insight and homebrew info. Follow Nate Smith at Nathan Homebrew, Mike McDowell at Tasty McD. Warren is stuck over at Another Beardy, and the great Beverly is crushing cyberspace at Bevo1. JP thinks Twitter's dead, and you should follow him on Instagram at Major Jip. Today's show is produced by Jason. I wrote a foreword to a very serious book written by a lawyer, Petros, and your host has been Justin. Be sure to find the Brewing Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
JP's an asshole. Justin's a nice guy, and when